Make it, yeah, yeah. Just make it
Right
easy.
here. That's all right.
There we go. Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah, make it just use the enlarge. There you go. Let's go.
Forgot something to say.
Call to order the monthly meeting of the Village of Lake George. Board of Trustees, I will have trustee Allison lead us in the pledge. I was told it was on the wrong side.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was a good catch, Sean. I almost said it on the New York State flag.
I should be.
I looked over here, that doesn't look like the right color.
Why
We're all just
It's in the
doing what
wrong
we
corner,
normally
so for
do.
how many years?
Yes.
It's been in the wrong corner for how many years?
Okay, welcome everyone. I'd like to start with the approval of the minutes of the regular village board meeting of October 16th, 2023. I'll take a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion approved.
Is there a second?
I can second that.
Second by trustee Miller. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The ayes have it. We have our monthly reports from each of our departments that are available from the Superintendent of Public Works, Planning and Zoning, Teen Center, Caldwell Sewer District, Director of Events, Sanitation, Meter and Dock Revenues, Fire Department, and Rec Center. All of those are available to you free of charge. You just have to ask. Before I get into correspondences, Vincent, I believe you have some words to say. Come on up.
Nice. I'm gonna read checks, you know, I have a bad leg.
Yep, your hip is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
Good.
So I listened to the Zoom from last week or last month on the country living, which was approved through. But I just wanted, because John had a comment of I would starve down in there about the moving and doing a favor. That show is worth a lot more to me at the point, because I still didn't know that vendors didn't really like Woods Park for flow and parking. So, you know, I gave into that as well, not knowing what was ahead of me. And then booking all these shows where the prior mayor, you know, I was asked to do certain things, doing it with him. So I got thrown into this trajectory. The market, the farmer's market, it wasn't a flea market. There was not anything used of products in there. The only used products that was in there was a prior year that Bob didn't want in there, which I didn't do. And he didn't want other people in there that I didn't do. And I caught the bullet for that. The farmer's market was 8,000 bid. And I told him at the time that only way to get that kind of money, because I had to outbid somebody, was to line up so many vendors on that street wide open. Moving it into the park was people didn't show up and didn't pay. I refunded 2 t-shirt companies in full, Lake George Apparel, and another woman, a couple other vendors, Arizona. I mean, I have a list if you really want the list, and Gomez Produce, which I subsidized to do that because they don't show up because they can't sell product there. Lake George will never have a functioning farmers market with produce because number one, it's a different transit on a Wednesday morning from 10 to 3. Anyone that lives in the village technically is working. So anyone that's in the village is on vacation. They can't buy a bag of potatoes and corn and bring it back to their hotel room. It's not conducive. So I did the best, given the circumstances that he wanted me to do. By moving in there and people complaining, I'm not taking a bullet on that. There's no way. I'm not taking a loss. I sold pickles there to subsidize my labor. There's no money in that. I mean, what do you think? 15, 20 vendors in the park? Hoop and Howland will have other businesses and restaurants that are waiting for me to go to them. I moved to this village to do other kind of work, and I was working with Bob on these things. But I only have $1,000 left in that original budget to pay into the 4 to make it 5 like the year before. And that's where I'm at.
So to bring everyone up to speed, there was, the bid was $8,000 for the farmer's market.
On the road.
On the sidewalk.
However, it was, we got a lot of complaints because of the, frequency of the other events, in addition to the farmer's market. And a lot of people just complain. So I spoke with a few other business owners, a couple of you guys, and said, it would look better in the park. It wouldn't look so much like a flea market. We have always covered the parking meters. For even when the two ladies were running the farmer's market and Renee, the other guy that ran it in between them
Right.
and Vince after COVID. So that wasn't really an issue. What happened, and Vince is asking for a concession. He made the first payment of $4,000 in June, I want to say, June or July, something like that. The next payment was due in August, September. He saw that he took a hit financially and is asking basically if we would, this is gonna be up to you guys. I'm gonna let you talk it out. Give him an opportunity to pay less than the $4,000 that he owes from the original bid due to the fact of like what he said. So that's gonna be up to you guys. If you wanna talk about it, have me ask him any questions. He's here tonight. He was here last month, but he didn't realize that I was gonna call him up and he left before I did. So it's kind of been in limbo for a couple of months now. And we're getting into December and I'd like to have a decision made by consensus of the board, like what you want to do.
Bid, hey Vince, how you doing? It's $8,000 bid originally to get in.
Right.
You paid him 4,000 so far?
Right.
You have 4,000 outstanding?
Right.
Am I right on
Yes.
that? Okay. How much, when it comes down to the permits that you're collecting on there, did you make enough to cover the permit costs? Or-
Each vendor, they only paid an additional 50, or they put into a 50 per vendor.
$50,
Straight to the village. So it's an additional to that.
so there's no other income coming in besides what you would sell.
Yeah, I mean, it's not this hooping and how thing there, when the ladies had it. Bob wanted me to take it over, he wanted me to build a food truck, he wanted me to do this and that and blah, 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 and I just did it. I mean, but I was originally doing my business up here, the turmeric store and the restaurant. And then the farm, yeah, it was great, I'm out there meeting people, no big, but wasn't we had vendors, we had honeys, the soaps, we had one, I know what jeweler, he was a lady which are locals. Arizona Box is a local village, lives in here, Maya had t-shirts, she lives here in the village, she has a store in the village.
So nice.
Stunad, so mine lives here in the village, the Ty Nice lives, he has a business here in the village. I went to all local businesses first, I didn't overdo any food, even in my shows, because there's a lot of restaurants in the town, including mine. So I wanted to put 5 to 6 more restaurants in the town to dilute the food. But I figured since there was all these, t-shirt companies, gives people a little bit different mix to come in here. Maybe out of the small businesses that I brought in here as far as vendors, maybe they see an opportunity to maybe move a store down here of different nature, don't know. I was trying to do a positive thing, nothing negative. I got attacked severely for I was a target. And I just did what Bob wanted me to do. Mayor Perry came to the restaurant that one day at the back there. He came in, hey, I'm out back. I came out back. We walked to the park. He said, what do you think we move into the park? It'll ease up a little bit of smoke for me. And this time I said, absolutely no problem, 100%. And that's what we did.
So my question is, are you saying that you bid 8,000, but you want to pay just 5, and the reason for the loss is because you moved into the park? Is
Well,
the justification?
Listen, if I moved in the park and everyone stood there and still paid and came in, it would not be in it, we wouldn't be here. But by moving into the park, people didn't show up anymore. So we were relying on that payment to continue paying. That's why I derived that money from. So it was half of the market went into the park. It went from 30 something to like 17, 18. The produce dropped out. Those are 2 booths. I mean, there was no way to move it all in there. People were pissed.
Do you have like something we could look at to see
I
that?
do.
Maybe that's like what we need is just objective data to see the amount of money that was lost from when it was moved from the sidewalk to the park.
I can put that there, sure.
My other question too is the bidding process. You said that you bid 8,000.
Correct.
And I don't know, did you have justification for reason for bidding 8,000 and then saying like?
Prior to the Renee and the girls' side, they were paying 1,500.
Mhm,
So when we then adjusted the bid, when I with Denise, which bid me in the ass, they weren't closing the meters, they weren't charging the shows for that. So that's why the year after, they said minimum bid 5,000. Did you notice that?
mhm,
They went to 5,000 minimum bid and bid up because of the meters.
mhm.
So we, or her, with me in there, doing positive moving forward on the shows, adjusted the money of collection. Why would you close all those meters for $1,500 for the season? It makes no sense.
Mhm.
That's why then they charged me on all the other shows I did there, they charged me for the meters. So I kind of helped her set that, and now it's biting me in the ass. So yes, I can get you a list. Oh, wait, forget the meters. I didn't collect what I should have collected. And then you guys made up on the meters too. The meters opened up, so obviously I'm out, we're not talking.
Yeah, we kept 3 blocked off so people
Yeah.
could pull up,
Couple-
get something and then
Unload.
leave.
I think that's what I would want, is just some objective data showing that you were on the trajectory to make over that bid. And then when we decided to close the sidewalk, saying that that trajectory drops so steeply, and so that it was our decision that basically caused the issue. So if you could come up with that data,
Yes, absolutely.
that would be, I
Yeah,
think,
right.
I don't know how everyone else feels
Yeah.
about it.
Well,
that's
how many
fine, so.
weeks?
It was 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks in?
It was half
Half and half.
the month.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, just with saving time, which I could still get you that list. 6 weeks, you even seen the amount of flow from outside to the inside was half. When I was asked, I didn't give any objection, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the bid at 8,000 was like John Carr does the thing in the middle of the road. And he pays for that, but I paid the higher bid to get on the road so I could fit our vendors.
Mhm,
Otherwise, why not pay the $250 a day and put it in a park?
mhm.
I mean, it's.
Yeah, he did what I asked him to do.
Mhm.
I did not realize what it was gonna end up
How
costing
many
him.
vendors?
Or how many
would
vendors
back
it
out?
ended up costing him not wanting to return it. I liked it in the park. I thought it was a heck of a lot better.
It made sense. I
Yeah.
didn't disagree. I said, it actually looks better in there. I thought it was a better flow.
Well, you even talked it up to the vendors when he said his vendors were finally allowed to go back in the park, all the COVID restrictions or, I forget what he told them. He tried to put a positive spin on it. Now, that's why I'm gonna help you guys make any decision monetarily because I don't wanna muddy the waters, it was me that asked him to do it. I feel
Yeah.
bad, but I can't.
Yeah.
I can't just,
Well,
Go
obviously,
ahead.
there was a lot more foot traffic out there on the sidewalk than in the park, where you
Sure.
couldn't get past the booths without,
Yeah, of
you had to pass by them.
Listen, I was only doing like now, ex-mayor Blaze was calling me today, said, oh, you wanna do this, you wanna do that, sign up 5,000 shows, do this, do that. I'm like, I'm not sure I wanna do that. Because when all these shows, like he's a wood salesman at this point, he was pushing me 2 weeks ago, oh, get the money, get the money. I get it, love him to death, in a lot of respect. But I didn't realize when I booked the shows in Woods Park, that the only reason why the one craft show that's in Woods Park gets their vendors back is because those vendors buy a Vermont show, which is a gold mine. So then he says, listen, you gotta take Lake George with it, and they get it. So it's a ghost town. Any other show, and there's music festival, they're great shows, they're positive shows, but vendor shows, I'm telling you, and I've been doing this for 18 years. And I've done thousands of shows, and I do some in Florida, California, Arizona. That part would never work for a vendor show.
it's pretty good for Sasha.
Yeah,
Well, there's
Just wanted to
wine
follow
there,
up.
I'm just saying, it depends on what show and the flow.
it can't be freestanding,
It
it can't be
can't
freestanding,
do it.
you
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
vendors.
wine shows, it's perfect for that, because they prepay, they pre-buy and they show up. But there's no way to get 5,000 people in there that park and walk through the village and it just won't happen. So every vendor that we called in my office, I have an office, you know that, and 3 girls, 1 girl quit, which we put in charge of Lake George. We're calling every vendor that I personally met in all the other shows that I had my businesses in, and I got that spend from them. Woods Park, no way. That does not conducive for a good show. So now I'm like, holy shit.
Unless
Why-
there's something else to go with it,
Of course, why wouldn't I
like
have had 500
barbecue or
vendors?
something. Yeah.
Share,
Sold tickets.
share concert.
Yeah. So I'm talking about. But I'm saying, otherwise, I'm closing my restaurant to go down to these shows. I'm like, what, what, you know? Even, you know, you've been a Friday night in the park, right? Did you ever see those necklaces that all the kids have?
Yeah, those
That's
glow,
me.
glow sticks.
Do you ever know that's me?
I did. Well, I only saw it once.
Well, you see, you're not there every night. But
I
all those glow
was.
sticks that
Fridays.
that are handed out, I was giving out, my staff was giving out to all the kids, little
Yeah,
Matchbox.
I got one.
That was me. I didn't go around telling people I did that.
That was,
Who, I mean, I'm not a bad person, I would put an
Yeah.
arrow.
Well, like Allison said, probably need to see it on paper and.
Yeah, it's
see how
gonna
the
take me
number-
another 2 months to get put together. I got a pregnant wife, my staff is now on over for Black Friday sale, now we're going through Christmas shop, I'm not gonna do my taxes until next year, so I'm not gonna do that bit. I mean, you know, I mean, being honest. You know, I got until March, corporate tax, they're gonna do my paperwork.
Well, our budget's not till June anyway, so.
I'm just saying, I mean, I will give it, you know, I'll give it, I'll even give it another show. I'm almost sad to see those numbers. Probably I've lost a few tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
You got a
I
suggestion?
paid all the
Yeah.
fees for Woods Park, pay this, pay that, and yes, the first one, which was a Country Living, which we need to start selling that show yet, because we made the arrangement with Bob in January, because we booked it in October last year. We didn't even start selling it. If I would have known that before that, I'm like, take them all. I mean, you know, he'd call me up today about my college, I'm like, I don't know, I just don't know. That's what, in Shepherd's Park,
I've said
that wrong
earlier.
15, 20 vendors, perfect. There's a
Doesn't
little,
make
little
the
variety of mix in
Mhm.
there, that I get, otherwise. And you couldn't do enough vendors, I couldn't do a Rock with Ronald budget, because I don't have the ops tax of $25,000 to promote that event, I only have the money from the vendor. So how am I gonna pay $9,000 for a band?
Right.
There's no way.
Yeah, Vince.
Yes.
I have a good solution. Next Tuesday, we have a meeting. We have a meeting next Tuesday. It's not gonna be months out and dragged out for you. If you have anything, text, email, cancel contract, there's just so many people you lost.
Yeah, I could,
So-
yeah.
And that's next Tuesday, we're here.
The 28th.
So literally, you're not gonna have to wait till next month or 2 months from now. Literally, you have a week. And we could, if you wanna send it over to us before, so we can review it, so we can get that knocked out,
Absolutely.
we can do it, cause I get it. We all have lives. We're human, and I don't wanna drag this out. for
Yeah,
you or
I
anyone
mean, like,
else.
yeah, I'm not trying to not. I'm not about that, you know, but. We're not.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Gary.
you too. man.
Mark and Joe, come on up. How's it going,
How's
fellas?
it going?
Good.
We're coming to talk about, two separate things. One about us having a tent on our patio for the winter time.
Is this at Blue or at
This is at
Goonies?
Lagoon.
Or Lagoon?
Lagoon, yeah,
Goonies.
at Lagoon.
It is, it really is.
That tent on our patio really helps us out because we put an extra 5 tables in there. Right around there, sometimes we can fit 6, but it helps us keep employees. It helps us make more money to break even because we've been staying open the past few years and we lose money every year, December and January. And we lose quite a bit of money, but we stay open because we love Lake George and we want it to be better. And for that, it's very beneficial for us to have that. Another thing is the ice castles. I don't know if anyone, we did an ice castle ice bar, sorry, not ice castle. We did an ice bar last year. Because we saw other people had done it in the past, we just decided we would do it, and we didn't come and ask because we didn't know you had to ask to do it. So we put an ice bar out there and we spent $5,000 on this ice bar. And it helped us out during January and Winter Carnival, people really came up and they liked it, it helped out. Just getting people to know where we are, because that Village Mall was really hard for us to let people know that we have a business there.
Right.
It's pretty, like, you drive by up front, and you don't even know a lot of places are open like Georgia. And it's really hard for us to get people to come down. And we promoted it, it went really well. But we did end up getting shut down because we didn't have it set up correctly. We're willing to follow any guidelines and rules that you guys put on.
You have to
us
go to
for-
the SLA for that?
we call the SLA and they tell us that they don't have any idea about that type of stuff. Nobody else has ever gotten a liquor license for it or.
The SLA says if it's not a substantial change to the license and to the business, then it's not something, then we don't have to change our license. You might even know the language.
Joe's correct. I contacted SLA when this came up. Checked for myself, and we all have had one Holly and so on. Contacted SLA and State Department of Health. And pretty much it was, do you have a liquor license? Yes. Is that ice bar on an area that's covered by a liquor license? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I said, well, should I get a seasonal? Should I get a? Well, that's, you know, for myself and on the record, Lake George Beach Club. I was calling for Lake George Beach Club. And the answer was no. So it came up that we looked at local laws, code and so on. For ice bars, and it was kind of a gray area. And I spoke with Joe Mark, and basically what we're trying to do is, or they're trying to do rather, is close up that loophole to make an ice bar part of the language and the rules surrounding ice bar part of the language. I know it's just frozen water, but they cost thousands of dollars to produce. And like Mark mentioned before, we have table metrics in restaurants, bars around here where everything's $1. You walk into a bar and you're $20 in my mind. Everything's broken down $1, and this time of year, Mark said a truth that's a scary truth. In our businesses, we budget for a loss. And you asked the reasons why. It's the employees.
Yeah, we lose like not only the money for us, but we lose an employee, and it's already hard enough during the winter time that I have to let people go anyways. Drop their hours around Christmas. It's horrible. The things that the decisions that you have to make. And that adds us to go from having 2 servers to 3 servers. And that creates another shift 7 days a week for us to keep somebody employed. And it's very important for us to keep doing.
Yeah, I'll be more specific about the tent first and then the ice bar. So, and like Mark said, and Jose was alluded to, I mean, all we want to do is we want to be able to stay open all winter long. I know that there's a lot of business owners who are, you know, on the same page right now in Lake George and trying to make that happen. It's not easy to do when there's a couple of restaurants opening. So we really feel like there's going to be a point where, you know, Lake George is a year-round destination, but we're still at the point right now where there's a lot of people doing the heavy lifting, staying open year-round, because it's hard to attract people to the area when only a couple of businesses are open. But we're doing it, and one of the things that we just did, because we didn't know that we couldn't 2 years ago, was we put a tent on our deck. Because our outside deck, we have 40 seats out there. Every one of those seats, you know, on any given day could be anywhere from $78 to $125. We lose them in the winter because they're on an outside deck. We put a tent on the deck so that we could heat those seats and have another 16 to 20 seats within the tent. And we've done that now for 2 years. It allows us to, like Mark said, it allows us to have more tables, stay open. It allows us to have music. We can put music on our stage because we have enough seating to make it worth having music, which allows us to market the restaurant and have people come in the winter and see live music. So those are all, you know, those are numbers that kind of go away if we can't have the tent. We started talking about this with Dan, and Dan was like, you know, you're not supposed to have the tent without, you know, going to the zoning board first and getting that approved. We said, okay, well, you know, we didn't even know that. We're not adding a tent in the parking lot to gain more seating. We're just trying to not lose as much seating as we already were. So that's kind of, you know, it's kind of tough to have to go now to the next planning meeting in December when we have events like Light Up the Village coming up this weekend that, you know, we can't wait until next month to get that approved. So, you know, we started talking and we said, you know, the code is really the issue. We should talk to you guys about the code and make it a little bit more friendly for businesses that are not necessarily trying to take advantage and I'm not even saying it's not even taking advantage. It's just trying to add seating and trying to do things different from what we're trying to do. And I think that this conversation is more about if we're all really on the same page and we're really trying to make this village and this town year round, then this is something that we all should want to do, you know, and it should be a really easy decision for us to say, hey, look, this code is a little bit off and maybe it was put in place for a different reason at a different time. well, let's think about fixing it.
We
Well-
actually are, this winter, Dan, you know, I don't wanna call him out, he's back there, he wanted to see what was said, so, but we are looking at our code. We are looking at it specifically tents and, you know, other things like A-frame signs, like they're, you know, you guys, I know, it says in the code only one, but you have two entrances, one from the lakefront walkway.
It's really.
Yeah,
True,
really
but
hard.
you know,
Yeah, you
from the
alley.
Canada Street and then the lakefront walkway, I was walking by, I saw your other sign, I knew it was something that Jim had written you guys about. And I saw people looking at it and saying, oh, they have wood fire pizza, let's go eat here. So it worked, and I said to Jim, I'm like, give these guys a break on that, but we are definitely looking at tents. Among other things, to change and to modernize. As far as the ice bar, I don't know, and I'm not gonna pretend I know everything, because I don't. I don't know what our law says about it. I don't know if it's allowed or not allowed or disallowed.
We did run into some issues a couple of years ago with Gaslight.
Mhm.
They had the outside, they had an enclosure
They
tent,
closed it in, right?
and there were some issues. They had a nice bar outside, but they're still in their patio. You guys, I don't think would be anything.
be
The
on-
reason why it was too close to the street
Yeah.
and
Ours would-
whatever
would
else, so
not be
there
able to
was,
Be on a spot where we already have seating.
right, well, it's not the seating, it's the public walkway.
Right, well, what I meant is like, we're not, we wouldn't. be-
Because you're up top, right, so I'm saying, but,
Our
this-
ice
but I'm just saying, though, with the ice bar, and
In the new
I'm not against it. So just let me,
Yeah.
that's not, I'm all for with the tents, because we've had others
25 feet.
situations this summer. Yes, others, the summer with tents and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
it was
we've been talking
a
about. tents.
long
You and I
process
wanted
of
to.
trying, so we're not, we're trying to balance out the tent rule. Working
Well,
with the zoning,
Right, what we can do as the village board is we can allow you to. Use the tent until you get your approval from the zoning board of appeals. And I would venture a guess as to when the next meeting is there one? The
Yeah,
sixth? You're on the agenda?
We're on the agenda for the sixth.
Okay.
We have, red trees.
Now 25 feet for the ice bar, can you be 25 feet from the
Yes,
right of way?
like
Okay.
Yeah.
I would make a motion that we allow the temporary tent until they receive approval from the zoning board of appeals, seasonal use. Can I have a
yeah,
second?
I'll second that.
Okay,
Thank you.
all those in favor?
Can I say before I vote?
Sure.
Sorry,
We could discuss.
I just want to have a quick discussion, real quick on the ice bar. Again, I know very soon is it, you're gonna have to put the orders, and I saying from my personal experience, it's a big investment.
I've been talking to them.
Very
I think
large
We have like a
investment.
couple of weeks before I have to make a decision on this thing at the one.
Okay.
Because he has other people that are buying them.
Mhm.
I have one other question though. Okay, so one other thing that we want to do, and we did last year, not knowing that we weren't allowed to, the ice bar melts. So we have a tent on our deck
Covering the ice bar.
we have a tent on our deck that we talked about for seating. We really would like to put a tent over the ice bar to keep it out of the sun on our property, which would be a second tent.
And I know that they said that you're not allowed to do, we wouldn't be able to do a second tent. Because it's too much. I mean, besides Beach Club, we're the only place open on the water.
Mhm.
We're really trying to like. Get everyone to come to Lake George, and we're putting in all this money. For all these events and all this stuff, like, we're just trying to go along with everything else too.
Can
And,
you cover it
Cover, I was gonna
instead?
say, instead of
We did that
tenting
last
it,
year,
cover
yeah.
it.
We did that last year, but there's also, I mean, even when you have it open, I mean, there's elements.
Just elements, yeah, you know, it's
Rain,
rain, everything, it's
Yeah.
like, and they do have covers for it. But it was really hard, it's 2 to 3 hours in the morning to undo it, it's 2 to 3 hours at the end of the night to cover it back up. It's just, there is quite a bit involved, and to have a tent over the top of it would make it a lot easier.
How long is your ice bar planned to be?
As long as it stays.
So like 2-3 weeks
I-
realistically?
so you'd wanna
We had
use it
for
as
1
a
month
regular.
last
Yeah,
year
we
month.
got it for 4 weeks last year by.
By putting a
What
tent
Mark
over
was
the
talking
top.
about, but we put a tent over, it. We didn't know we weren't allowed to.
Yeah.
So that tent really helped protect it, and that, I mean. those are
Because
real dollars.
the sun is what really gets
Yeah.
it, and you know, the sun.
And you're
comes
coming
over
up
that
from the
mountain,
east right
and
over
it
there,
hits
yeah.
us all morning long,
Yeah.
on that side of the lake, and it really affects how long that, ice bar is, so like, we used the tent and then we kitty cornered it, so we got shadow. We got shadows over the top of it to help keep it from going,
Okay.
because they are expensive and it's just a waste.
Yeah.
It turns into water.
Right, Mayor, can we pick Dan's brain real quick? And the reason I'm saying this, so Dan is always stuck in a precarious position. Dan can only do what the code and law says. And he always
Unless
ends
we
up,
say otherwise.
unless we say, and he always gets stuck. With the hard thing to do, he does his job, I just don't wanna vote on something and kick the can and put Dan in a position with planning and zoning. Where nothing's resolved and then it's a no. Is there, that's why when I asked Dan, straightforward, what's something that we can do? Do you understand, the codes, so it's
gotta
not
be
just something,
acceptable to
yeah,
allow
it's
it.
acceptable.
What you just did is fine, the allowance of the tent in the
Okay.
interim.
Mhm.
They do have a tent permit until the end of the month. We weren't gonna bust their chops. The code states that you can only have one at a time and you can only get 2 permits a year and each permit is good for 1 week. So the
Right.
code effectively says you cannot have 2 at the same time. This board does not have the ability to grant relief. That's what the zoning board does.
Yeah.
Your 2 options are send them to the zoning board for relief for the second tent or change the law.
Yeah, right, and that's one of the laws that we're looking to change, regardless
Yeah, the
of what
2-week
happens here.
thing is- It's never really panned out for anybody, you know,
Yeah.
the original intent, we assumed was 1 week for American, 1 week for partial.
Yeah.
Most that utilize tents do not just do it. For those things. So. I don't see any issue with changing the law, but that's a local law process that,
Mhm.
you know, we can start as soon as you're ready. And go through before the winter stuff, but.
Yeah, I think we, if at all possible, when you go to, you're on the docket for the ZBA. Go ask them for relief for the second tent. We're gonna work in the background to clean up this one and several other local laws that I don't necessarily agree with, and I think the village board probably either hasn't seen them or hasn't. We've run into some more things this year than I think it was thought possible.
Well, and I think this year, the past couple of years, weather has really changed a lot.
Last couple of years, we let everything go because it was COVID.
Well, but I just mean since COVID though, I
Yeah.
mean, we haven't had the frigid weathers of the minus, 4 degrees for 3 weeks straight. You're looking at 40s, you're looking at 50s in the middle of January.
Yeah.
When people are trying to do something, I mean, our winter carnival's suffering, because we can't freeze the lake.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's,
It's one of my
So,
campaign promises that I would freeze the lake.
yeah.
We work with the Winter Carnival too.
No, we know that.
Personally, a lot.
Yeah.
To really help out.
So, I mean, whatever we can do to try to, get these laws, a little more at ease, so we can.
Yep, so there's a motion
make
on the
these
floor.
easier for
and
merchants
seconded
that
it.
are trying to.
Question.
Okay, let's wrap this up.
Yeah,
This
so I
is
was just
taking too
like,
long.
it just, is there a reason that we have the code for the tents right now, the way it is? Like, what was the reason it was?
Well, no one ever had a tent before.
No, and I think they weren't as popular as
It's not,
pop-ups.
it wasn't
you
like
know.
a safety thing,
No.
snow and ice,
No.
I just wanna make sure we're not.
Visual
approving
thing, a
anything.
visual.
More of a
class.
visual,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. That's what
And
I'm
I don't know
wondering.
what the restrictions are, they're color restrictions, size restrictions, I don't know.
I think that's something that we'll have to
Well, before it
define,
was tarps on a.
and that's
Right.
part of the rewriting of the law that we're going to do. We're gonna have to establish, a standards of colors and,
No advertising on them.
right,
Yeah.
just
But
template
for
guidelines.
them to look at towards that second tent though.
I'm fine with if the zoning board of appeals can allow them a second tent.
We can't do anything like
You'll have
tonight
to
about
pitch
that.
to them when you
We
go,
are.
just if it wasn't in your application.
Okay,
Your application.
yeah, you told me that because with that's why I wanted to talk to them first. I didn't know all about the
I'm
rules.
personally nervous for you guys about getting them. Personally,
Yeah.
because we did
No, that's
3
good,
of
though.
these
You
earlier in the
Offered a lot of
season,
solutions.
and the zoning board didn't have any good things to say about the tents.
And what would, I mean,
It's been a fight.
yeah,
It's a little different of a scenario because the variances they had reviewed prior. Most of them were just tents that were put up in parking lots. Yours is a little different, kind of like Scott Woods. Scott was our last.
Right,
He was putting one up beyond the other ones that he has on top of the deck that he has.
and that was
so-
one of the, part of the verbiage we were looking to do is, yeah, you can put them up over an improved area, which is actually what you guys would be doing. But you have a specific reason for this one basically month-long tent that is gonna protect your investment of an ice bar, so. I'm completely fine with it. I'm sure the zoning board of appeals, once it's explained to them in that manner, I can't see them having a problem with it. I mean,
But
they're
we
human
can't
beings,
guarantee
they're
it.
really, you know.
As a board, we're not guaranteeing it.
No, no. I know
Yeah,
you-
yeah, no, no. Well, we say and what they say.
There's a couple zoning board members that, for whatever reason, were just anti-tenant.
Yeah.
I don't know why, and it was about the length of time that they asked as well.
Right,
Well, yeah.
we just need
Just
the
what's
time to
the time
get
about
that, yeah, that could be
And not the
done
process.
in
too.
in
Have to
2
go to
months.
the
I mean, it
state.
wouldn't be done in a month, because we'd have to,
But the point being, if we get to the end of that process, they don't have to deal with the zoning board.
Right.
right,
There's no entity that could just go and deny them because they have personal issues with it.
Right.
But the parameters have to include more than 1 tent.
Mhm.
And for longer than 2 weeks.
Right.
right,
And some of the other things John mentioned, which is the planning board have been, they've been the ones poking out colors and landscaping. and
Right.
shading and blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
So,
okay.
Thank you, guys.
all right.
Well, we have a vote that we haven't done yet. I vote aye. We have a
Aye.
motion on the floor.
One on the deck.
Yes.
You
for
can't do the one for
and
the
then
ice bar.
They're gonna
That's-
ask
yeah.
the zoning board of appeals, yeah,
Okay.
for the 10.
Literally.
Yeah.
On the back.
Aye. Yeah.
Aye.
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 Okay, the ayes have it. Good luck, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
What is it, was John's here for?
Yeah, John, what do you got? We're taking everybody ahead, so you don't have to sit through the whole meeting.
Well, I apologize, I'm filthy dirty because I've been making Christmas trees all day.
Get out of here.
Making.
Meeting, and then I was on Zoom and everybody's here and I thought, oh, heck.
Well, it sort of is too, but.
You need some more water in that bar.
I know, there's.
Picture gonna be okay, it's gonna be full size of it.
I don't, not sure why that's like
I've
that.
been in the woods all day. I haven't-
I try to expand it.
Welcome. Hi.
Hi.
Hey,
A couple of different things, that we have going on.
It is good.
We're in the process of trying to apply for a liquor license for the Charles Wood Park space to coordinate with the ice
Oh.
skating, kind
Mm-hmm.
of Winter's Realm or whatever they're calling it, the Ice Council folks. The state liquor authority is trying to figure out how liquor licenses have existed there prior. And are kind of getting, I guess, there's some static down in Albany about how liquor licenses have been used there or not used there. There's alcohol being sold and not quite sure why or how. We do not want our name in the newspaper, being associated with selling alcohol to the public at a venue, like a family venue, without the right license. So we've gone all the way up to the top. What they are suggesting that we do, because of the length of time that the ice is there, that we get a seasonal license for that facility. This would be kind of like a golf course would get, or the steamboats has something similar to it. It's a seasonal permit. It would be good for how many ever days that they're open. To do that, you guys are the landlords. Obviously, the landlord has to approve that. There's a 30-day period that the municipality looks at it, I believe.
we can waive that.
Yeah, we
Yes,
can do it.
yes, and that's part of why I'm here tonight. Again, we were assuming that we could use temporary permits like we have
For
before.
the agriculture.
No, exactly. I mean, there's 100 licenses, but they're
Yeah.
really considering this because the length of time that it's there.
Mhm.
They're not really letting us use our catering license, so it's kind of, they really want a seasonal license here because it's a facility. So I would like to ask the village board to waive the 30-day requirement of notification. We are notifying the public
Mhm.
via the newspaper, which we have to do in bonds. And then a letter from the village board or mayor to go along with this, kind of explaining the situation that this.
And
is
we've got
facing.
one on file, right, that we use?
Well, this is for, is this the one that he's talking about?
Yes,
I don't know if we can sign it being Charles R. Wood Park, or if it has to be signed by the county.
we've done it in the past,
Okay,
because we run the park. So it's not like, you know, it's
We're the management
contractually,
company.
it's, yeah, it's
But I think you
32%
said it's like
ours.
landlord, right? So who like physically owns the land? What's the percentage of,
32 and 68,
so who's 68?
the county.
So would
But
they,
you were
We,
You're the operator.
we are the operator, yeah, it's in our it's in our municipality
Okay.
and it's in our jurisdiction, so
Yes.
we can, I'm almost 100% confident that we could sign,
There-
97.5% confident that we can
Yeah,
sign.
yeah, and then that's how we did it before. There is also a letter that goes out to the sheriff's office that comes in from them because it's because it's a public space the way it is.
Right.
So we just want to make sure we're compliant with that.
Are you gonna be there when they open, or we won't have it in time? for
No, we
opening?
thought we could use a catering license or
Yeah.
temporary licenses, and they said they,
That would be-
like, it kind of worked its way up. I think they're trying to clean up how licenses are handled on that property, because there are so many events that have alcohol with them. And there's permits being issued in a variety of different ways.
Yeah.
Or maybe not permits at all. So there's a lot of questions as to what's happening there. So I think they're trying to get a format that makes sense for that, not have it
Yeah.
kind of be every day there's a new permit or a new person handling it. In case there was an issue with alcohol there,
Sure.
which
I-
is fine. I mean, we don't want issues. so.
I don't think we need a
With the-
motion for that. I mean, we're all in agreement that we'll waive the 30 days. It's,
But with
Are
that
normally
catering
required.
license though, was that something that, because, and you could do it on the weekend, sort of kinda until that permanent?
A catering license will allow us to go over and do private events, that are short time periods, a day or two, that kind of.
Yeah.
Because the length of time of that meeting or that event is why they don't want catering licenses turning into permanent.
Right, but I'm just saying,
Licenses.
would there be a way to use the catering until the permanent license guy?
They kind of square pegs.
You don't
square
wanna get caught doing it.
Well, I think the state liquor authority probably had the best language back to us, which is if it's on a licensed premise already, it's not a substantial or permanent change to that establishment. That was kind of their take on that, for us. Obviously, we're not trying to hide anything down there. I mean, we got, we're coming and applying for octax. Not sure what permitting would be. Obviously, we're investing a lot of money. We have for probably 12 years now. Going back probably before these discussions even happened. I would like either the village board to advise the enforcement department as to, here's our view of it, here's the gray area, and if you're in that, you're okay, if you're out of that, you're not, but to be shut down in the middle of that, obviously, is not only gonna affect me personally, but it's gonna affect all the staff and everybody else that's there. I don't think we need that goodwill out there when businesses are trying, to keep busy in the winter and bring people here hardcore.
But it's the patrons too that are coming in. We don't want them to come in and all of a sudden they came here for a specific reason and said, oh no, we can't.
Right, right.
So-
I mean, I would recommend as the board looks at this, ice is obviously very difficult to maintain. You know, maybe there's a set period of time where you can have them, just so we don't have ice bars from November all the way through to just, you know, April kind of timeframe.
That's a good point, because, you know, they are wildly popular in January and into February,
And then
right?
they lose their momentum, because
Yeah,
now it's just, it's not a special thing,
timeframes,
it's.
Yeah.
And I would make the process quite simple, you know, versus a planning board or zoning board or appeals process. You know, maybe it's a permit, maybe it's just an application, I don't know, but keep the process quite simple. While I'm here tonight, and we are going to be starting our cutting of ice right after Thanksgiving, so that we're ready for that event. You know, what do I need to do as far as code enforcement or anything?
You're good.
Okay, and I just wanna make sure I'm not, you know, doing that, so.
Yeah.
The only thing with the bars, the ice bars over the years, the only issue that we've ever had to deal with, we don't permit them or do anything. The only issue is the 25-foot.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what Gaslight
Yep.
came into, because theirs was all the way out in the front. You know, those guys didn't really do a great job of explaining. They didn't put it on the Taste of India patio. It was out next to Sean's kiosk, which was in the public right of way.
Right.
It was off the sidewalk. As long as it's 25 feet back, which is the rule in zoning about outdoor bars, we haven't even permitted that.
Yeah.
This is temporary in nature.
Yeah,
you know.
they're just to, you know, make an extra buck, and I don't wanna stand anybody's way from doing that.
And I
It was
think
hard
it-
enough in the winter.
Once you let the establishment went to a parking lot, then it became a traveling bar, and then I think you needed a special license for that, because. You can move a bar anywhere you want, no, not anywhere you
Not
want,
anywhere,
in the establishment. I just know DJs had to go through hoops when they wanted to sell beer outside, and they had a tent, it was a special. You know, licensing, so, I mean,
So.
but again, that had nothing to do with us, it had to do with the state liquor.
That was
authority.
SLA, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I just
So,
wanna make sure
yeah.
while I'm here, we're talking.
No,
about-
good, I'm glad you
Okay.
asked.
Before I spend way over $5,000.
Yeah.
on ice. So, all right, thank you guys. Have a good
All right,
Thanksgiving.
Thanks, John. Happy Thanksgiving. All right, let's go back to the agenda.
Dan, have a nice Thanksgiving.
Already.
Yep, have a nice Thanksgiving, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. Glad you
Thanks.
came in.
Thanks for coming in, yep.
Okay, correspondence, we got a letter from Bonnie Hart thanking Keith Lanfear in the Village for the extra help that Keith had provided on the athletic fields. Moving some for the goals and stuff.
Well, we just helped them.
Install that.
Install the new netting and all that kind of stuff, but the bigger option or the bigger project was the skybox.
Yeah.
They had, the other one got torn down, it was dilapidated, so they bought a new one that's gonna probably last longer than all of us put together. So we just gave them some help with some equipment, so on like that, but it's good to get back in, having
Yeah.
a better relationship with the school than what's happened in a few years past. Some of you guys may know about, you know, some, not friction, but there's not good coordination. And we're building back up, building that back up, which is good for the home.
Absolutely. The other one was Patty Kirkpatrick. Didn't realize we gave her the approval for leaving her deck out on the sidewalks.
Right.
Decks, is it decks?
Well,
Did you
that's
say?
what this is.
Is that what the question is?
We
Decks.
did it for the one, but we didn't do it for
Oh,
the other.
okay.
We missed the second one.
I don't have a problem with it, as long as the snow is removed from it and there's plenty of room for
It's front of one seventy-five.
The old.
185.
used to be
Original
Vero,
crew,
the original
the
Vero,
original crew location,
original
Valero,
yeah.
Valero.
or
OG,
the original Vero.
original barrel, right, that's
Yeah.
right, not crew, sorry.
Barrel one.
Barrel.
Barrel two, Scotty.
Crew with a C,
Yeah.
CREW.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve that additional deck.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Root. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Did you vote, Allison? Allison, did you vote?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mayor votes aye. You guys have it. Okay, resolutions. Julie is gonna take over most of these because she did a great job
Yeah,
explaining all of them. There's a lot.
yeah,
So,
okay.
starting with the fire department.
If you looked at Brendan's, request, his post, he was asking for, you guys to approve a car starter for his vehicle and the first assistant chief's, his vehicle would be 395. That's for the chiefs, and the first assistant chiefs would be 890 because it's an older model vehicle where they would have to do extra electronic modifications and such. So he's looking for that to be approved. He's also looking for you guys to approve a matching grant from DEC, where he's looking for, I believe, $2,500 from us. It would come out of his budget, and $2,500 he would get from the DEC, and that's for brush fire equipment.
And radio.
Right, and the radios they're used radios, so those are the two things that he would use that money towards. And yes, they are used.
Okay, that's what I saw mine.
Much
His
less
tag
expensive.
Was through Amazon.
Well,
And then
he
what
put
was
several
10,000?
quould
You
out
put
here
other
for you,
quotes for other.
so that we
new-
could
new
show you
radios.
how, how
How
much
much they would
everything
cost.
is.
Send it back.
But it was a lot less expensive. The ones from usedradios.com is what he's looking at, the
Okay.
2581. So basically, he's just looking for you guys to approve those two things. So I would suggest when you vote, you do them separately, do the car and you can even say, okay, on the fire chief, but not on the first assistant, if that's what you so choose. The next one is.
Well, do they, I guess what I'd ask before we move on from there, do they have the money in their budget for the,
They have the money in the budget. I would just take it out of their general.
Yeah.
For the car starter.
for the car starters?
Yeah,
I
we're
think
talking
multiple-
350 for one and 800,
It's not up.
Almost
to-
900 for the other one.
890 for the first assistant chief. And like I said, you can choose to do just one, which his is a brand new one. The first chief, we just got
just
that
got
one
that,
yeah.
months ago. The other one is obviously an older make, and that's why it's $890 to have all the add-ons put onto it, so.
I read the reasoning
Mhm.
on the starters, so they're warmed up and ready to go, but if a call comes in, you
You don't
don't
have
sit in
time
your
to
house,
warm up.
push the button and go, okay, I'm gonna sit here and wait for it to warm
Take a
up,
shower.
you know? Is that's how I read it.
No, I agreed with you.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, you're not, no, I mean, if there a call comes in, you gotta go, you're not gonna hit the start button, you're gonna run out there and start it by
Well,
hand.
probably while you're getting dressed, you could start it initially and then, it's gonna take you a couple minutes to put your pants
It's
on.
not gonna warm up the truck.
Do they have a garage that they could put those?
That's
for?
at their houses.
They take this. home with
There's
them.
their.
They take them home, so that would be if they have a garage at their house.
I'm just wondering if this is just an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars, that's all, because of what John was saying, like if they respond to emergency, how long is it gonna take, if there's a significant amount of snow on that car?
Mhm.
So that's what I feel. And I want them to respond quickly, but also I just think, thinking about taxpayer money,
If
like
they spend it on this, then they won't have it to spend on something else.
something else.
possibly.
Yeah.
Well, they just ask for more at the time.
But they don't seem to ever really spend their full budget, and we're always rolling it into the next years, historically. I'm not being, on one side or the other of this, but
Mhm.
they don't ask for much.
Hi. Sorry. I'll play the devil's advocate on it. I agree what you're saying about the money side of it. You can't go spending willy-nilly, but I do know in the fire department, I've heard him say it many times, minutes, they play a game of minutes. And if it's even 2 or 3 extra minutes, it might be important. That's my 2 cents into it. I know it's a game of minutes. I do agree with what John's saying, but I do know the argument's gonna be every minute counts on a fire and or traffic accident or so on, get someone on scene. What was the total? It's 395 and 195?
Yeah, no. his-
900.
One's 395 and
Totally
one's 890.
1,100, 1,200.
So you could also, like I said, opt to vote on them separately, like yes on the first chief. And no on the other, if that's what you so choose, however you guys want to do it, or do them together as a group.
I'd love them some, I know it's not high enough, but I just love them to get like a few other quotes, cause I feel like at the Ford dealership, maybe it's a little bit more
Yeah,
than.
that
at
makes
somewhere
Well, I mean,
else.
we are standardized with Ford.
Sure,
So we're gonna go with Ford and it would just be.
It would just be another Ford.
Nemur
dealership.
Ford versus Warren Ford versus, you know.
Auto Saver Ford.
Auto Saver Ford. I mean, we can do that, generally speaking. On the 395, it's below the $500 limit
mhm,
that we require 3 quotes for.
that's okay.
And the 890, we would be above it, so we could tell them, get more quotes for the 890, see if we can get it for less.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, we don't require 3 quotes for something less than $500.
Off the top of your head, Jolie, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Do you happen to know what the surplus was from last year?
It was they carried over like $40,000 from last year.
Hmm.
I mean, that obviously that'll go towards the truck that they,
Yeah.
the more they have in surplus, the less we'll have to borrow, so.
Yeah.
Right, which is kind of, I think my
Yeah.
thought process about it. I get it's a small amount of
Yeah.
money, but like over time it adds up. So,
Like if they were coming to us monthly with stuff like this, then I would say, yeah, there's a problem there. I would like to, have them speak to, maybe they have another reason that
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
they could say,
Could they, we look at or have them do, votes from those, car starter businesses down in Glens Falls?
yeah, like Boomer McLeod or something.
They Boomer
I mean,
McLeod.
even though it's not really aftermarket, I guess it is, but they're quite viable. I've had them myself for years and years.
Yeah.
So maybe at least get some more quotes.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
okay, so we won't vote on that one, we're just gonna
We'll
say,
pull that one out. We're
Yep.
gonna
okay.
table it.
So as far as the next thing, is going to be, obviously, like I said, the matching grant application, so I'm gonna assume you guys will vote on that one. The next one is New York State and local retirement. Every year we have to pay out, obviously, for our retirement, and this is just your approval on doing that. It'll be a total of $173,425. The next is New York State DEC, Speedy's municipal fees. It's based on our daily usage, for wastewater. And they had estimated us at 1.7 daily. And that's much higher than what we actually do. And if you look at the next, on the next page, it's in here. Basically, what we do normally on average every year is the $2,000 limit. And we may have, it looks like currently have, high usage, but it's gonna go down in the next few months. So according to Tim and Danae, most likely we're not gonna hit these numbers
Yeah.
that they're saying that would qualify us for the $8,000 charge. So we're actually putting in a dispute form, and we're gonna pay the $2,000, which is what we
Normally.
proved that we use on average.
It's quite a jump.
So,
2,000, 8,000.
yeah. So, the next thing is Firematic every year. They do the preventive maintenance on the fire trucks, and this is just giving you, their current rates going into 23, 24. We really don't know what they're gonna need to do until they actually look at the vehicles. But this is just letting you know that we want to use Firematic and get your approval on continue to use them for our preventive maintenance needs. Penflex are the people that carry our LoSAP program. The total fee on this would be about $3,900, which is a little bit higher than last
Is
year.
that
but not-
disbursements or
What's that?
is that disbursements or that's just,
No, this is just for
What's
them.
what we
to-
pay
This
them?
is, yeah, this is just for us to pay them
Okay.
to carry it for us. The next one is the South Warren Snowmobile Club landowner agreement. Basically, we have property tax map ID 26403-1-1.1, where they use our property as part of the trails that they have, and we've always, as far as back as I could see, looks like we've always had them use that.
And
They're
then they
just like,
name us
have us
additionally
continue to
insured.
use that. The County of Warren Local Tourism Promotion and Convention Development Agreement, which is our tax for the $150,000. We're expecting to be able to sign off of that, let the mayor sign it.
I have a question on that. It said, the 150 goes to the town
Yes,
and then it gets divided between us somehow?
yeah,
How,
Yeah.
is it 50/50 or,
I believe it is. That portion of it is 50/50.
and the contract said for 2023.
Yes, this is.
This
This
was,
is-
should have been signed. It was
Yes.
actually, it was signed by
Kinda
Kevin Garrity and,
Did Dennis sign it too, I think?
Dennis signed it in September.
Well, what's happened is
It
one
happened,
person.
I had another one, another copy that was signed in May. I signed a copy in May. Dennis didn't because he was sick. So Kevin Garrity had a signed copy from March. I signed it in May, and I sent it over to Matt Fuller, who signed it. Just
We're just
that
trying to
same
get all the
day.
signatures on one
But
page.
yeah.
Before
so
the end of the year?
I had.
That's what we're trying to
Yeah,
do.
so I had sent it to the girl at the counter, like, I got this from
We
May
signed
when I
this.
signed it. And Dan had said, well,
We
I think
never-
you and I have signed this more than once,
Yes, so
so.
that's what it is. We're just
Basically,
trying to all get
I
on
wanna
the same
clean it all up. Yeah.
New York State firefighter cancer benefit plan, we have this plan in place for all of our firefighters. Last year, we authorized them to upgrade it after Donnie came in and asked for it and explained why she felt that they should get the enhanced plan. Basically, the cost goes from $147 per person to $187 to go from the basic plan to the enhanced plan. Our cost last year, it's almost doubled. And the reason being is we have more members or we have more people eligible, let's put it that way, for it. That's what they're saying, that we have 32 people that are eligible. Last year, we only had 22 people. But the actual cost per person really hasn't changed a dramatic amount. So the question is to, continue with the enhanced plan, or if you guys want to go with the basic plan and get your
Yeah.
approval on that.
I would just, if you guys want to elaborate on it at all, I mean, there's so much toxicity in these fires that these people are running into, and it's, God forbid, they do develop a cancer as a result of it. I mean, we should take care of them.
The Q-Mation SCADA agreement is basically the customer first support agreement for our plant SCADA. I thought that Tim was gonna explain this a little bit better. I really don't understand 100%, except for it's basically
Well,
yearly.
It allows that company that does our, the SCADA system as for the sewer plant, it allows them to, sign in at their location as opposed to, if there's an issue, as opposed to having them physically come out to detect or remedy an issue. And that's what I got out of reading the information.
The remote operating system.
Correct,
Yeah.
and it's a year.
The 1 year
a
renewal.
1 year agreement, so that's what I understood of it. Yeah, I think it's one of the normal process.
The GA Bove Fuels agreement. What happened this year was a gentleman down in Saratoga won the bid. He's obviously not GA Bove. All of the tanks we have are GA Bove. And to use him as our supplier, we would have to then replace all of our tanks, which would be extremely expensive. We're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. I contacted GA Bove and I said, well, what are people doing? It's like, first I asked, do we own the tanks? And they're like, no. They're like, you'd have to buy the tanks, which would cost thousands of dollars. Or he'd have to get new tanks for you. And they said they were having a lot of people contacting them about the same thing. And what they've done is they have agreed to match what this gentleman is offering.
State contract.
State contract, well, it's the Warren County contract but it's through the state OGS system. And so basically, we're looking to either sign a 1 year or a 2 year agreement with GA Bove. My preference as the person who does the purchasing would be the 2 year contract. And continue on with them at the current state contract rate.
No, the 2 year contract, that's not locking in. the
It's
price.
not like locking in prices, and the way that the state contract is set up is it does fluctuate.
Okay.
But it's based on the state gives a rate and then he has a percentage markup kind of thing. And so it's not gonna state, fuel prices are gonna always fluctuate, but at least this way, we're not paying 50% over
Market,
costs.
right.
It's, you know, it's a set amount that they agreed to accept. The next one is something that you guys have actually, in the past, I believe, done, but I don't see that it's been done in more than 10 years. And that is a standard workday resolution. When we were talking with our auditors, they recommend that we have one of these set in place. Normally, this will be something that you guys sign at your annual organizational meeting, but it was not, obviously hasn't been done in quite a while. So I'm suggesting that we get this updated and get your approval on it. Basically, it's just saying that, you know, on average, 6 hours is what they're saying for a trustee. 7 hours a day is myself.
6 hours a day for a trustee.
That's what it says. A standard workday would be 6 hours. Now, I think that that's a bit much looking at.
Does that affect the
Yeah.
New York State retirement? Does that number go into that? Probably not. We
Yeah,
fill out that.
no.
It would be much more into the
Yeah,
retirement
yeah, I-
system than we are.
Yeah, so that's a lot. Let me just,
It's more like an hour and a half a day or something.
yeah,
like that.
I think that that's a bit much.
Days, months.
I think
days.
that's the 6 hours might be more of a monthly kind of
Might
thing
be a-
for you guys. When it comes to you guys, I think
Maybe-
it might be more of a monthly.
Maybe a week. 6 hours a week.
What's that day, month on something?
wonder if they're gonna
That's
use
what it is.
Probably closer.
Rate of activities.
24 hours.
Right.
The one that would be 2 hours.
Even that's generous.
Twilight Zone, wasn't
You're not full-time job.
Yeah.
So,
That out and
I mean,
kind of get an update on it.
my suggestion would be instead of a standard work day for 6 hours, I would say maybe one a day, 30 over a month, 1 hour day, or,
I'd say 6 hours a week, but one a day is pretty
Or-
close to that.
Yeah.
Sure.
okay, so for you guys, it will be per week, one a day. Obviously, the mayor's is
35 hours.
35 hours.
Mhm.
And then obviously mine, Danae's and Keith are gonna be what's written on there. Okay, and then the last, oh no, that's not the last one, the Oriental
Shriners.
Shriners Octax. What happened was this was approved to give the Shriners $1,500. And that's under the assumption that they spent $3,000. So basically they get half their money back. This gentleman came back 3 or 4 different times, finally was able to give me this, where they paid out $1,746, which I have proof that they did pay out $1,746. But that means they didn't meet the $3,000 total that we required of them to get their $1,500. The question becomes to you guys whether you want to offer him any Octax or a reduced Octax at a, because if you're looking at this, it's a 50% rate. But again, that's up to you guys on what you guys may or may not want to offer them. As they could not meet the $3,000 minimum or expenditures.
So we offered that we allotted 3,000.
Well,
We offered
if
them
you look at the letter-
1,500 if they provided proof that they spent
Oh, really?
3,000.
We put that stipulation on that.
it's in the
Evidently.
letter, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, in the letter that goes out to them, it specifically says,
I did, yeah, okay.
yeah, that they get,
So unless we'd only refund half of what they spent apparently.
well, again, that's up
That's
to you
up
guys,
to
whether
us.
you,
That was
you
it.
could still give them the 1,500, you could say you don't get any money, you could say we'll offer you 200, you guys as a group could decide whatever you want. But I wanted to let you know
Well, we
that
allocated the
that's
1,500.
where we're at,
right?
and I
I
need
was
to
thinking
have,
of 1,500.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's a little convoluted, that whole, I don't know if we've ever done that. I didn't realize we did that.
I've never seen it.
yeah,
Um,
it's a letter
Well-
that was sent out prior to the former mayor leaving,
Yeah.
and I don't know if
I don't remember ever putting that stipulation. We'll give you 15 as long as you spend 3. I never,
Well, covering half, but that's,
Yeah,
you
but
give
I don't-
someone $6,000 for auction tax money and they only
Right.
spend 3. They're pocketing the other, the idea was.
no, we
to-
don't get, they don't
you
get the
don't
money
get
unless they
into
spend
the-
it.
Sure,
Right.
receipts, right.
right, so.
Okay,
I'll-
I'm with your
Okay.
But we
recommendation.
also
When
have
we,
a
when we,
3-year term too, though, on auction tax is what
You don't.
capped it out before.
you-
We 3 times as you're required to ask for auction tax. Isn't that what we've had before with Business
Three,
with the
three and you're
company.
out?
Three and you're out.
Yeah.
We've talked about it, but it's not, it hasn't been applied to every.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Okay, and then, the
So,
last one, which I have written in here, I gave you guys, I believe I gave you a copy, of the static IP address. I just got the quote today. We currently have no Wi-Fi.
apparently.
Yeah, we're having.
We're
hard
having
time
a
with
lot
this.
of issues with it. They discovered that one of our routers, it was a router, right? That was
Wi-Fi router,
bad,
yeah.
and, that we need a secondary IP, static IP address. So we contacted Spectrum. They finally got me a price today. Our current price that we pay out per month for our internet here is $121. Our cost to go from one static IPS to 5, because there's no 2, 3, or 4, would be $170.97. So it would be about $50 more a month that we would need to spend out. And I would like your permission to do so that we can have Wi-Fi that actually works for the building
Mhm.
in more than one room.
So it's going from 1 to 5.
One static IP
Yes,
address to.
yeah,
five.
the
And
Spectrum
they-
doesn't offer 2 or 3 or
Oh,
4.
it
You
can
either
be
buy 1 or you
utilized,
buy
or-
5.
It's a
We're
package.
talking to some new people on our, both the phone system and the website stuff to kind of bring us up into the probably
Yeah.
21st century. We're not even, we're just in the 20th century. We're still in the 90s here. But, so that's, for another time, but yeah, we're talking to some people. Not only are we behind the times, we're just a high security risk. Based on, the type of things that can go on or can go wrong with like hackers and the like. So we're pretty low tech.
Exposed.
We're crayons as opposed to a light bright. Maybe not even paint.
I think the scary reality now is that, you're held, hostage. Via the internet, seeing with banks, casinos,
Mhm.
hospitals, only management have.
Schools are pretty bad. Okay, so those resolutions, I will take a motion.
I'm actually gonna just say pull out the Oriental Shriner ones. I just think it's a slippery slope with like, we have that's the contract that they signed and then we're like changing it, so I just want that one pulled out.
Okay, we can pull that one out. Want to
Yeah.
vote on all the rest, and we're also tabling the car starters. But
We're not tabling the fire equipment, right? The
Correct.
brush fire.
The
We're leaving that
grant
in.
application,
Yeah.
no, we're not.
Correct.
doing that one.
Well, just to, should we check the records whether this letter did we ever actually agree to this?
I don't think I've ever
Contract
seen
with
it.
them, so I've never seen that where we
I haven't either.
stipulated that you have to spend
Okay.
3,000 to get 1,500. I don't remember ever doing that, and maybe they didn't realize that either.
I don't know. It's up to you if you want to table it and figure that out, but if that's what we're saying the contract was,
I don't-
I just want to.
Well, it looks like we promised them 1,500. I don't know why we would ever
I've never heard. that.
caveat it with,
Yeah.
you gotta spend $3,000.
I've never heard that. so-
Never heard of that either. And you have more experience on Octax than I do, and
Well, I don't have the memory maybe that you do, but between the two of us, maybe we can. So I don't know if it's gonna affect the vote anyway, so we
Like I
might,
said-
we could push it through and.
They're just looking to get, and then they actually, if you look at their requests, they're actually only, they were asking for $1,700. Obviously, they don't get that.
they weren't
for now.
asking for
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird.
I just wanted to make sure because I saw that and I was like, wait a second, he only paid 1,700 and I don't want to pay it out. And then have somebody down the road say, wait a second, there was this letter that says 3,000.
Did
So
they get, we know if they. got
we
it.
can supersede that. We can say, you know what, we want to pay him the 1,500 that we promised him, period.
Yeah, we're allowed to do that.
You as the board members can say,
Mhm.
we're not
Because
doing that stipulation.
I
we
never
wanna
voted
do
on this. I know,
Pardon me?
I never voted on this.
I don't recall. I mean,
No, like
I
I
don't
said,
remember.
Yeah, I mean, three of us were here and three of us have
Could
never
look at the
seen this
minutes. We
before.
could go back and look at the.
it may
minutes.
not be on the minutes. That's the thing. This
Okay.
letter was done. It looks like it's just one of the award letters that was sent out.
We
Okay,
have no idea where that letter came from.
well, it's Mayor Blaze signed it, but I don't, like I've been saying all along, I don't recall ever doing this. It just seems weird, but
I'm fine with giving him the 1,500.
so am I, so that's two, maybe. So.
Yeah.
So do we wanna-
If you're saying
because
that
that's
you
what
guys
they-
never voted on it and it wasn't something, because I don't want to start that slope of like, we
No.
did this, then you didn't make the money, oh, okay.
As Ray said, we never put it out to anybody that I can recall. Like, here's
they've asked for it, we,
That's it.
either
Yeah.
we knocked it down and said, well, we're giving to them, and we
Okay.
gave it to them. And
There's
Yeah, on
nothing-
our resolutions, it basically says this amount was awarded to this person.
Okay.
It doesn't
It
say
never says
anything
it gives a
about.
caveat.
Yeah,
of
no,
showing us.
it never has before.
Okay, so then keep it in.
I mean, if,
Okay, keep it
to
in.
get your
Okay.
money, you had to show it, yeah, like.
I'll take a
This is a
motion to
donation.
approve those
second it.
resolutions, seconded by, or no, you're making that motion. I
I'll
need a
make that
second.
motion.
One table in there,
Yeah, with the one
Okay.
table.
Yep.
Is there a second?
second.
Second by John, trustee John. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. The ayes have it. Okay, now we're on to special events. Applications, the, yeah, he's reporting.
He's a-
in the whole stuff.
Post
All
up.
right, I just, I wasn't sure if he was ice castle, that's all.
I'm literally just here to see if you approve these events.
Yeah. Well, the couple of them we had for Shepherd Park, we had approved already 2 of them, and we just never talked about waiving the fees. Usually for a not-for-profit, we will waive the fees, such as Rockin' for Ronald and Kelly's Angels. We waived the fees the last time, and then there are another 4 applications to approve and discuss if we want to waive the fees. The first one being the Lake George Prom Coronation.
We waived them last year.
We've always waived things for the
But
school.
we've never done it. This is the second year they'll be at.
They did it during COVID,
Yeah,
and then they did it last year, 'cause
Right.
I know for a fact, because my son was in the prom.
right,
It's a very low impact.
It's
thing.
very low.
There
They're
is
in and
not-
out.
yeah,
and-
There's no
and
garbage
there's
to
no
pick up.
food,
There's
they
no
don't make a
food, there's
mess.
No electricity.
they don't have
burn.
to decorate the gym,
Right.
ours.
So that's that. Rocket for Ronald, we already approved. We would just need to discuss if we want to waive the fees. Which I'm fine with if, I know we've done it in the past.
We have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For both Rockin' Ronald,
Yeah.
Rockin' for Ronald and Kelly's Angels.
Right.
Then,
I do like the fact that Kelly's Angels did a public press conference and
Good.
awarded it. And
That
even
was
John with
nice.
his event,
Yeah.
he brings out the big billboard checks and
yeah,
so Rockin' should probably, get a little more press on that when they do something of that nature.
yeah, I missed it. I was supposed to go to the school and I got sidetracked. Lake George Community Band Thursdays, we haven't charged them historically to use the park. They're putting on a free concert for the public. That's our Thursday show.
And
There's a band
fireworks.
festival, which has the fireworks, where they play the 1812 overture while the fireworks are going on. Everybody really loves that. And then the senior give back day is new.
What is it?
It is. I should know, I talked about it the other day. That's the. Senior give back day. The Lake George, it's a picnic, Lake George High School
Oh, seniors and.
seniors,
school
as in not
senior?
senior citizens, seniors in high school. It's just a. More of a celebration at the, toward the end of the school year for the seniors
And where do they want to do it?
in Shepherd Park.
Oh.
Again, I think it would be a pretty. Pretty easy lift to not charge them for the park. It's a daytime use.
Yeah,
It's
make
just a
one
picnic.
second.
1 hour.
Yeah.
It says 1 hour.
So, I will take a
I
motion.
wanna actually chat about it.
What?
Waiving the fees, and I just wanna kind of see what everyone feels about this. So we are waiving the fees, but some of them are asking for labor required from the village. So it's not like at a no cost to us, right? Cause we have to send a laborer for however many hours to help whatever they need that for.
Not really. I mean, they're working anyway.
True, but then the way that my mind works about this is they're taxpayer dollars, right? So we're kind of saying that we're waiving the fees for these events to go on. And we're using taxpayer dollars to help them set up and take down. So
No, you're way off base on this.
how am I? off
There-
base?
yeah,
You're
there's
off
no
base on it
setups.
because they set themselves up.
Well, it's in their application. That's why I'm not saying like this isn't something.
Probably
I pulled out of
trash. and
there.
I
stuff
mean, it
like
could be,
that.
yeah. I mean, we're gonna have
unlock the,
laborers on duty anyway. Keith, help me out here.
Yeah, we've got, what event was that again?
So we have, just what I'm reading in here is for both, like Rocking for Ronald, Kelly's Angels, Lake George Community Band. And it says, is materials, equipment, or labor required from the municipality? Check yes or no. So that's what I'm wondering.
Operation, are only a portion of what our, DPW and park attendants work during the course of the day.
Mhm.
They work 6 to 11, and certainly those events don't go on. So we have, employees for the duration of that event.
Yeah.
On duty to the regular work. So there's really no cost associated. And even if we, if we put a tent up or a banner up, it's still during the daytime hours.
What
And
was those?
it's in our parks, in the village park.
Okay, so that's what those employees are meant for.
Are these events, these events are probably getting occupancy tax money too, right?
Some of them, yeah.
And,
We're not making a lot of money on,
well,
yeah, and they are charging fees, these events.
they're all free events.
Well, no, they charge fees to their vendors, so the vendors, they're not waiving the fees to the vendors.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
How do we choose what is a charitable, like,
Well, if it's a legitimate 501c, then
right,
we
so is that,
historically have waived the
so is that
fees.
the rule? Are these all legitimate 501Cs?
Mhm.
Like if someone comes into the park and they're saying, we're gonna give this much to charity, do then we waive the fees for them? I just wanna tighten up the rule a little bit so that we're not saying, yes, everyone's a charity, let's waive the fee. Cause I guess in my mind, this is the way my mind works. You don't have to agree with it, but essentially our laborers are paid for by our taxpayers. I don't want to start all of a sudden waiving tons of fees because everybody is doing.
You're not
this.
starting anything new. They're,
Okay.
they're legitimate 501cs and,
Yeah.
even the Lake George Community Band is a 501c.
well, now, Allison, I see what you're saying, especially on the one permit from the community band for the Thursday nights. They're asking help from moving from the school to the stage, and they've never really had any help. They bring their own equipment.
Yeah.
It's not like,
It's volunteers that do it and that load the vehicles. We just drive the truck over and then they unload.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
we pull in there with a trailer, 1 or 2 guys in the truck.
Yeah.
yes. And they start the.
yeah,
janitors
it's
start
just the
bringing stuff out.
stands and pretty much the
You know,
chairs.
there is a little interaction with DPW, but it's minimal.
Yeah.
And that follows up with our letter that we just read here.
Yeah.
To get more, continuity with the school as well.
The community band doesn't generate any, they don't
Money.
generate any income.
No,
You know,
so they don't, they're a
I-
not for profit,
Right,
just
but-
as I stated.
Not for profit, it's such a wishy-washy thing. So like, I form a 501c. I'm not for profit, but everybody's getting a salary, so by the end of the day, what are the profits? They're-
You don't
Yeah,
think
this
they
whole
offer
band is-
salaries at
Yeah,
the Lake George
it's all
Community Band.
volunteers.
No, I know there's no, but if you look at like, Ronald McDonald, for instance. Ronald McDonald, to support the building on Ottawa Street, I assume. Ronald McDonald Charities is a multi-million-dollar operation. Do they really need that charity money? Plus they're getting occupancy tax money. Now they're not paying fees. Kelly's Angels, at least I give them credit. They gave the money to the high school
Mhm.
and made a splash about it. So, I kind of can see where Allison is coming from, and we rely on fees to cover our expenses. I mean, that's what the mayor came in and said, we collected all this money on fees and now we keep waiting them.
I think you're just overwhelmed because they're all here at once and we missed 2 ahead of time that we didn't bring it up, but these ones we've waived the fees on these typically every
Okay.
year.
So going forward, I think it would be nice if, and this is part of the reason why I think we should look at events, so we have kind of a format, so it's not all ad hoc, so that we say. Something that we don't have to like pick and choose each time, so it's kind of it's in the policy that it doesn't require, well, what about this one or what about that one? And so we just know that this is how it
Yeah,
works.
I mean, and these ones are template. Just like you said, that we've always waived the fees.
But you're
You
right.
were here, you should know this.
Well, you're right, and part of it is, there's just so many all at once.
They're all on the same,
Yeah.
the
And
agenda,
Yeah, and plus it's probably been approved, and now we're going back to waive the fees, and
right? And if you look at Wood Park, we're not waiving a single fee here.
No, I think it's whatever everyone feels comfortable with at this current time for me. I feel comfortable waiving the fees for anything that has to do with the high school, because those are taxpayers. And then anything that isn't, I just will vote no on waiving the fees. I can approve the events, but that's just my personal preference right now, with the setup being kind of just up in the air as to what.
Do you want to take these
considering.
individually?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Alright. I'll take a motion to approve the prom coronation and waive the fees.
I'll make the motion.
And I can second that one.
Seconded by trustee Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to waive the fees for Rocket for Ronalds. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee Joe. All those in favor say aye.
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 Say the words.
then you have to go opposed.
Yeah. you
Oh,
can
I say,
approve
you
it.
can say nay, opposed say nay.
Nay.
Yeah.
Okay. you guys
Okay,
are
I just gotta
lockstep.
just go slow.
Yep.
1 second. I gotta get everybody's name on here. Okay. and then-
Motion to waive the fees for Kelly's Angels.
I'll make that motion.
Take a second. Seconded by trustee Filomeno. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Nay.
Because they gave the money to the high school.
I understand. You said that, I get it. Okay, so Lake George Community Band, you ready?
No, on that one, on the Kelly's Angels, I have Joe, then Jose, second, and then, was this just for waiving the fees?
Mhm.
right?
Yes, just for waiving the
Yeah.
fees.
Waiving the fees, and then Nay was just
Just
Allison.
Allison, everyone
Okay.
else was aye.
Okay, that's what I needed, thank you.
Okay, Lake George Community Band, can I take these two in one motion, the Thursdays and the band festival? Cause I kind of figured this might be the way it's gonna go here,
Sure, just approving them.
approving and waive fees,
I would take them separate, please.
the community band twice.
I'm just saying, I think until we clean it up, I would like to just keep these, and then when we have our special events meeting, that we make some more set rules about it, because if we never do that, just in my mind, it can be a slippery slope. What are we waiving fees for? What are we not? If we waive fees for this, then what are the rules? So just like John had said, cleaning up the language about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lake George Community Band Thursdays, June to August, approve and waive fees. I'll make that motion. Take a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee Joe. All those in favor say aye.
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 I'm
Opposed say nay.
Approving them, just need to
Approving-
waiving the fees.
No, I'm not doing that. If you don't, I'm not gonna take two votes on one thing. If you wanna vote nay, that's okay. We got, the ayes have it. It doesn't matter. I'm not, it's four more votes to call roll. And I think you're wasting our time here.
I'm not
It's
waiving
two
it.
separate issues.
I'm
You
two
can
separate
approve the
issues.
event and not approve the waive fee, I think. You could separate
I
it.
can approve the event and say that I would like the fees to stay.
That's fine, I can show it
Yeah.
on the thing. Approve the event, all, and then fees, I just need to go.
Okay, so fees. Opposed say aye. Or I mean, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay.
Nay.
Lake George Community Band Festival on July 13th, 2024. Motion to approve.
I'll make that motion. Oh, John made the motion. I'll
Um,
second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay, sorry.
You don't want to approve the event now.
Oh, sorry, it's approving. I said,
Yeah.
yes, I.
And then the
Okay, and then
fees.
waive fees, motion to waive the fees. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Root. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay.
Nay.
Lake George Senior Give Back Day for the school now.
We can take it together.
Motion to approve and waive fees.
So moved.
Second,
Second it.
second by trustee Master Domenico. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah.
If everyone's second. I think that real quick, this is the beauty of this board. We're gonna always come to the same conclusion. But we're allowed to voice our opinions. I think that's so important, especially this time of the age, it's democratic process. I always like to get a reason why I vote. The approval and waive fees, I voted aye down the board. And I do it for a couple of reasons. So I agree with Allison when she says it's our community, our residential money. We're all residents here. I look at the benefits. With the band, obviously the students and the different charities, it does benefit us. I take full advantage of the bands when they go into the park and our residents like to walk over there. And that's kind of my mindset too, with the waive of fees. As long as there's a benefit to us as a resident, and it's not so they fill their pockets. I was okay with it, far as that goes. I just want to explain it, because obviously you gave your reasoning, and John, I listened to everyone. But that's what's great about our process. We all have an opinion on it. And I think it's important that we're all heard, and I really respect that. I truly do, and I just wanted to hear my reasoning. I thought there was a benefit for the community, and as a resident, I do enjoy all these things, and like I said, they're not here to make money, but they're giving to us. So for us to give them the $250 fee, I thought would be fair. That's it.
Okay, we will move on to Wood Park. Is that number? No, it's not. There it is.
It's just page 2 right here. Oh,
Yeah, no, I'm.
oh yeah, it's all in the same file.
Same file. Just want to get the right. Event, get to the right application, and I can. There we go, Charlotte Wood. Okay, Memorial Meltdown. This one is a little creative this year because they are splitting the daily fee of one day with Americade, like their takedown is on the Monday, and then Americade's setup is on the Monday afternoon. So they're splitting the one day of fees. That's why it says split, partial fee split with Americade and partial fee split with Memorial Meltdown, because they're both actually technically occupying the park for a half a day. So they've agreed to just share the cost between the two of them. And then the Adirondack Yoga and Music Retreat. That's a new event, I believe. Either that or it came back after COVID. Is that brand new?
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's brand new.
Yeah, because they said in the application that that's not going.
He's
to
not
be-
100% sure that's gonna be the name.
Dave
Working,
Eam- is that
working
Dave Eamon?
title.
They mean it.
Dave Eamon again?
Adirondack Independence Music Festival, which is Labor Day. Like they had last year. I kind of wanted to maybe not necessarily discuss that and hold up the approvals, but we wanted to, and Keith will echo my concern, is the amount of costs and labor that we endure by moving the stage, because someone wants the stage
Facing
set
one
up
way.
facing one way, so the park was designed to sort of blast the music toward the hill, toward the campground,
Yeah,
because it's a lot of vegetation, it's got a hill behind it. It's a natural buffer for, and you get people up the lake, call up every time, and then, you got Dave Eamon who wants to have 2 stages. I'm under the impression that we could save ourselves a lot of manpower and time if we put the stage and left it set up. We can close it up to make it look like a tractor trailer for an event that's not using the stage, but I think the fewer times that we have to set this thing up, I think it's the better for us. So, I think we can, I can go as a liaison between the different festivals and plead my case as to why we want the stage set up where it was designed to be set up, instead of moving it and then fielding complaints from the water's edge, or fielding complaints from the village, depending on where the sound is facing. I think it would be a better use of our labor and our men's hours if we were to just, and probably better for the stage itself, because, you know, the more you move it, the more your
Assemble it,
hours and,
disassemble it, yeah.
yeah,
A lot of moving parts on that.
yeah, there's a lot going on there. And it takes, you know, 10, 12 men,
Yeah.
better part of 2 days to move it around and get it set up.
And then the physical relocating, we have to, the county was initially, bringing their tractor trailer to move the stage for us, you know, within the Rocky bounds of the park. That kind of fell through pretty quickly, so we've been relying on the town,
Mhm.
because they have a truck. So, you know, if we can just move it once, twice, maybe during the course of the summer, that would help our relationship with the town as well, because we don't really have that part of, it's not part of an IMA. They're just doing that to help out and so on.
Yeah.
Which we would expect, but we don't want to take advantage.
Yeah, I mean, now rather than hold that up, I mean, I think I would just like to get that ball rolling or that discussion rolling,
Mhm.
because it just seems much more efficient on the part of both the longevity of the stage and the time management of our people.
So which way would it be facing?
It would be, you
Campground.
know, when you're facing the park, those bollards where they remove them, you could drive through, like straight across from there. There's actually like a bump out in the gravel where it's
That was
supposed to be.
designed for the
Designed,
location.
it was, yeah,
That was designed when the park was designed, that was where the stage was supposed to go, or a stage. If we, before we bought the movable stage, we talked about building a bandstand there.
Mhm.
And then, you know, they came out with these
mobile stage.
mobile stages and they seem to work a lot better. Now, we've not rented it out, I think, once. But we bought it in mind
We
to,
rented parts of it to
Yeah.
Albany.
well, the gift, that's a swap.
Yeah, pretty much.
You could put a optional fee on it. If you want the stage over there, it's gonna cost you this, you make it prohibitive for them to move it.
That's a
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
good
that's a good
idea.
idea.
I don't mind talking about that too. That's,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I mean, if it's progress to try to minimize something that's been going on.
Yeah.
I'm all-
You wanna play, you gotta pay.
I think why they like it facing the lake is because now they got a longer audience base that in front of them is.
Yeah, I think it might have worked out more for them setting up vendors and stuff like that, but you know, it's our park.
The same size park, it's not changing the shape of it anyway, so,
Oh, we're back up.
No,
We're on
look, we're up.
but we're gonna get a lot of
for now.
flack
No,
from.
it Popped up
the
on there and I
power
touched it.
campground.
Okay. All right, so that being said, I mean, I can, like I said, I'll act as a liaison for that, but that I just wanted to speak my piece on that so that we're all kind of on the same page and you'll understand where I'm going with that. So as far as, let's see, we got to the Adirondack Independence and then the Rock the Lake. Is there any reason to take any of these Country Fest and then Common Roots Beer Festival? Is there anyone that someone doesn't like one of these events and wants to pull them out?
I just have a question, it's brought up just because of what Jim, or Jim Carr, right?
John.
Sorry. Jim.
It looks like a gym.
The alcoholic beverages, and he was talking about the permits with that and that they were confusing, and so was that
I think it's because of the length of the.
the length, but he was saying that like everyone holds some type of different permit.
It's
that they,
catering.
Like know
They're
how
a
to,
catering license, because you're only in for 3 days,
yeah,
so it's a short term where John would be there long term.
Because
And he can't, because you wouldn't be moving it.
because
yeah,
the winter realms are there
It's
much
3 months
longer
long.
than, yeah.
okay, so we're fine with that then.
Yeah.
Cause one of my big reasons for asking was at the bottom of this, we have that Common Roots Beer Festival.
Mhm.
This is the first time festival. for
That
them.
is the first
The
time.
first time festival. I don't know if any of you have ever been to a beer festival.
No.
No, no, but I hear tell.
Yeah.
So, my one concern about, this is a first time festival, my one concern is, because it's like it's promoting, you know, beer and all of that, is that we have some type of stipulation saying that people aren't leaving the grounds with beer in their hands, because I don't want this to become like a big party that kind of goes out into the village. You know what
I
mean?
think
Like,
that's part of the stipulation
that-
already.
Actually is, I
Yeah, they
mean,
can't- they
like,
can't
the
remove-
same
No
thing
open
with the
containers.
No open containers leaving the park,
Sure.
but they can buy like to go, like 6 packs or.
Sure,
4 packs.
Or, yeah, you're right, John.
Yeah.
Growlers,
It's
yeah.
gonna be the same as the Adirondack.
Same as
The
the
wine,
wine
it's like the
festival.
wine
Wine
festival.
festival.
None of the open containers are allowed off of the grounds of the park. I mean, that's already a
But
stipulation.
even when John does that bacon and booze or whatever he used to do,
The bacon eggs one or the
well, the
jam
one,
and eggs or something like that.
whatever he did at his place,
Something like
it
that.
stayed there. Oh,
That
he had
was
the
a
bacon
radio
beans.
program, I think, Jam and Eggs, wasn't it?
That's
Maybe
a
you're right.
restaurant in South Plains Falls.
So it's kind of, I just want to bring it up for discussion. It's kind of to you guys. I mean, traditionally, when you go into these beer festivals, they give you very little glasses. And I don't know what the idea behind this one is, because it's just said like $50 at the door, 45 advance tickets. Is that like all you can drink beer? Are people buying glasses? I don't know if this is an all you can drink
Yeah.
festival versus not.
Tasting.
Or is
Yeah,
it
those are tasting.
tasting?
It's-
Yeah,
I don't think it's just their beer. I think it's a lot
it
of
says it's
different.
55, I think 55.
Vendor,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's, I'm just wondering, because we promote like the
Well,
family
Saratoga
friendly,
has it.
sure,
You know,
and
and,
they have very little glasses.
yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I'm sure this is modeled after that.
they're not gonna be
Queensberry
small.
Hotels, they do it too. They-
Right, so that's what I just want to make sure that we're getting something that's modeled after that, because there's no information on here about what it's being modeled after, so I don't. I imagine it's not good for business to give people like 8 ounce or 12 ounce growlers and then say like taste test and go wild,
Yeah.
that, right? But,
Sure, yeah.
but I
Well,
don't know.
It's a
because
first time
not-
event, so normally on a lot of first time events, what we do is we see how it goes, and if it's bad reviews, then we usually don't allow it a second time.
Okay,
But knowing the people that are holding it, they're
Right, I was
also the
gonna say
ones
they're-
that do our Friday night.
sure.
So, I mean, that's pretty much stayed in the park, and there's more than 5 ways leaving the park with an open container, so. And it's usually pretty good, so.
Yeah, it's not like
I
a
mean-
frat party or anything like that. It's a.
So you guys feel comfortable not having the details on what is going to be kind of, is this all you can drink?
I don't think they charge $45 and have all you can drink. That was,
Right.
that's $7, $8 a pint. That probably did shoot up pretty quick.
So it's pretty similar to what they do at Saratoga
Yeah,
Springs.
I would probably say
Yeah.
it's under.
I'd say they're gonna model it after that.
Yeah.
We can ask
Queensberry
them to make
Hotel.
sure. We could always rescind the.
And then because they don't have
approval.
like a time either, a time either on there.
Yeah, it's 12 PM to 3 PM and then 4 PM to 7 PM, 2
Where
sessions.
am I seeing?
4 trucks. Yeah.
Well, can we pull it out and go to the next meeting and just to get verification of what they're.
Well, we've got until September. We don't want to lose the week. I
We
don't
could
think
say
you
like
will.
we could hold it for them and like like I said, I'm kind of like, if you guys are like, oh, let's just see how it goes. We don't need any more stipulations, then
Well,
I'm happy
the
to sign.
family that runs Common Roots is a local family. They,
yeah, I'm familiar with them.
the Webbers, so
Yeah.
I don't know, I hold them in a very high regard and respect their past, festivals or,
Entrepreneurship.
yeah.
This is just me saying like, they're very respectable people. I'm just saying we don't have details. Are we okay not having details about it?
I am with them.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think we have details of what they do on the wine festival either, though.
Right, and that's just like stuff that I've started thinking about with all of these special events applications. There's not a lot of details as to what is in the event. We're just kind of like Country Fest.
Well, there's a set of rules that they have to abide by,
Yeah.
anyway, so I mean, if they were looking to try to fracture any of those rules or change any of them, I mean, there's quite a bit of,
Sure, I just have had, like, we say, like, we have that family friendly image. What is this event? What's going on at it? We don't really have a lot of that. I've had people ask me like, what's that event for? And I'm like, it looks like this is a music festival, but I don't have any more information for you other than this.
I'd
is
be
a
more
music
concerned with the
festival.
music festivals than this beer festival, to be honest with you,
I don't think we'll have anyone camping on the side of the brook,
from a beer festival, right, right.
Yeah,
not like the Memorial Day weekend.
Mhm.
the Labor Day weekend.
Both.
I mean, if everyone's okay with that, like not having the details and we're like, we're just gonna see how it goes and that's how this process is, cause I don't wanna fault these events because this is how our process is. I'd rather just kind of figure out what our process might be going forward.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's a typical how these beer festivals run. They do tasting, like you said, and
yeah.
people can buy meat.
No.
There's probably people getting intoxicated, I'm sure.
Sure.
I don't think you fit.
So,
I just brought up to Ray
yeah.
on Country Fest side. Thank you, Alice, for bringing that up.
The name
I
of it.
think on the application, they don't mention alcohol
Right.
and or food on that application, so that might be incomplete.
Unless they're not offering it.
Well, see, that's like, this is my big thing, like when we have these applications come up, I'd love for the person putting in the application to come explain what their event is to us. Have a little bit more,
Sure.
because there's also an application in Shepherd's Park that says they're gonna have like children's play things, and then when it says how many kids are going to attend, it says 0. So there's a little bit of just discrepancy in some of our.
On the Country Fest one, it does say alcoholic beverage to be served, yes. Yep, on the first page, it also says food, admission fee charge, yes, food be served,
Food be
yes.
served, yes. Yeah.
Will alcoholic beverage be served, sold at the event, yes.
And that one also doesn't have like a time of start versus end, it looks like. But some of the applications are just, not complete. Like what you were saying.
Yeah. I assume that, when they get their 1-day permit, we get the, additionally insured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1 day. $500 refundable security deposit. Does it say that he paid for it?
Yeah, he paid the
Oh, yeah, it's right there.
deposit.
Yep.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, the time of the event they have to be
Be
determined.
determined, yeah.
Could we get a little clarity from our event planner?
We could.
Of course, of another week or longer, whatever, just maybe work with him and individual case, if there's questions or certain ones that are in question. And to see exactly, maybe you can reach out to the actual person putting the event on and talk it out and give us a report.
Yeah, except a month ago, they didn't know what their hours were gonna be, so
Yeah.
maybe they don't know yet.
Right, that very well could be as well. So just trying to
You're gonna wait for the weather.
clear the waters.
Good weather, we're gonna open up at 4.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's just, the point that I'm bringing up is, are we okay as a group saying, we don't know all the details of this event? Or most, like, there's details that are still up in the air, but that's just how we've always done it, so let's approve it that way, because this is our schedule, and maybe going forward. We wanna have a meeting to say, these are the things we need to know beforehand, maybe we need to have people come in front of us if it's a new event. Something of that nature, just because I feel like we don't truthfully know everything that we're approving for these events. or-
Especially when they put
To be
TBD on there.
determined.
and all the-
Yeah.
There's all
So
to
it's
be
kind of.
determined.
Well, there is in the bylaws of the park that you can't be there after certain hours or before certain hours. It might not be in this application, but it's in the park regulations.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm fine with moving forward with these, but I do understand your concern about having a more detailed application.
Say that again, I'm
I
sorry.
said I'm fine with approving these, but I do understand moving forward a more detailed application or more detailed information on the application.
Yeah.
A completed application. You could put all the blanks in there, but if they don't fill them out, I mean, I think some people just pencil whip it and we go, okay, we prove it. Fingers crossed.
Well, I mean,
Can
it
we-
means a lot for these people to be able to lock this
Yeah.
weekend, because they have
Right.
to lock in vendors. They have to lock in the insurance. They have to do a lot in order to,
Right.
so by us holding it up, I mean, yeah, we can always, like I said, we can always go back and rescind if we find something out that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, because I said, I understand that. I don't wanna hold anyone up. I just wanna, like, this is how it's always been, but do we wanna going forward, maybe change it up a little bit?
Well, maybe we can approve them with the intent of finding out what,
Yeah,
you know, if it's gonna be, you know, if they just sample glasses at the brewery. Since it's the first time event, we really don't know how they plan on running it. And then the same thing with the Country Fest.
Well,
you know.
we can approve and then ask the questions, and then if we don't like it, we could
Yeah.
rescind the approvals.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I would like to do.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Or to rescind it? I am, as long as we reserve that power, right?
Yeah,
If
Have
it
them.
comes out, you're like, you know what, we're gonna give them 20-ounce glasses of the 15%
we're gonna give them
IPA.
funnels,
I doubt that's
Make
what's
sure the place
happening.
that's on staff.
the yard
back up the
beer.
truck.
Yeah, like I doubt that would be good for business, but I just
Yeah.
said it's not in there, so I just wanna.
But in the
Yeah.
future, maybe first time events come in, approach the board, so if there are questions,
Mhm.
and if it's a renewal, then it's a different story. We know
Right,
what you
we
can
know,
do.
like with the boxing,
Yeah.
we had our fears with the boxing.
I
and
did, that's
There was
for
no
sure.
problems whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it worked out,
Yeah.
but you know, we did say, you know, they wanted to do it twice, we said, we'll approve the first one, and then
Yeah.
if the second one. If something goes wrong, then we're not gonna allow the second one, we didn't even hear one complaint about the first one, so. That worked out for us. All right, so I will take a motion to approve these 7 events.
I'll make that motion.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee Philomeno. All those in favor say aye.
All right,
Mayor votes aye. Okay, we are, as far as number 6 goes. The Warren County Comprehensive Plan. I think they want us to just make sure that this is public knowledge, and that we're acknowledging that or they are going for their comprehensive plan. And 2040, planning for the future, so. Just an acknowledgement on our part
Yeah,
is sufficient.
they also have I think a link. for
There's a
people
link.
to fill out.
We could
the-
post a link on our
That's what I'm
website.
wondering.
Yeah, right
I also
here.
didn't know, oh shoot. When the next water bill is coming out, like we could even send something in that to alert people or no?
I
feel
wouldn't
like
because
that would
it,
be-
sometimes the more paper we put in there, it costs more money and
Okay.
postage and
Okay,
I would just
They
say,
go
here's
both ways.
this.
a link on our
Here's some
website.
information if you're willing and you wanna look at
I
it.
put up the QR code in the office already, this page.
Yeah.
here.
Right,
there was an article in the Post Star with a link, I think.
Mhm.
yeah,
I
and it
put
came in an
most of
email
this.
to me, but.
Yep.
There might be people that don't know, so
Mhm.
just,
Yeah, it's just sharing the information with our residents.
yeah.
Alright, so, that's acknowledged. December 26th, 2023, because, Christmas falls on a Monday, we always give, Christmas Eve day off. So I was thinking the 26th would be the day off. December of 21. No, we don't know what we did.
Yeah,
December of 22, we closed the 23rd and the 26th.
So you're saying we normally give Christmas Eve off,
Christmas
but
Eve
instead you
and
wanna give the
Christmas
day
Day.
after Christmas off,
With the day after instead of, because the day before is a Sunday.
right?
So we usually give those 2 days off, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Since Sunday is Christmas Eve. I think the 26th, the day after Christmas would be appropriate.
It's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, I think
4-day
so.
weekend.
Nice.
Just take time to be with your family.
Mhm.
Not everyone celebrates Christmas, but
Yeah.
still, it's nice to take time for their family.
Yeah, so, do we need a resolution for that, or motion? I'll take a motion for that.
So move.
Second by,
Second.
seconded by trustee Allison, and all those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye. Did you say
Alright,
aye?
Joe, do you get the day after?
Bugsy Joe.
Christmas off?
no,
I don't either, I don't these days, but I think it's nice to be able to, so.
Okay, so we had a gentleman come in here a couple weeks ago. Our beautification committee or team was cleaning up some of our property, which happens to be in front of what used to be Montana's. Now it's gonna be the new Metzaluna location. That
Oh, yeah, okay, one word, what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah, that part of, we own that garden in the front.
Yeah.
And we were cleaning it up. So he came into the office and had his phone and was recording. He was a lunatic, but he was recording Julie and saying, "Why are you working on private property? You shouldn't be," he had some signs he was holding up to about police corruption. He was a fun one. But we have the signs up there saying no recording devices beyond this. But what I would like to do is I would add a local law or support a policy, adopt a policy to support that. We don't believe the office area is a public forum. The office area, including Julie's office, my office, Danae's office, and the main area up there is not a public forum. So we can disallow any recording devices. Down here, people can record us all they want. Because this is our public meeting. I just want to get that into your thoughts. Several other communities who do it, and what they are is, what was the term for them? First Amendment auditors.
Yes.
Yeah, they what they're trying to do is elicit a reaction.
Right.
Like, they're trying to really tick you off and have you lose your cool, and then they can bring a lawsuit.
You smile and act very nice.
Right. So, but it's becoming quite a thing. There's something happened in Fort Edward. At the beginning of last summer. I don't know, maybe you heard about it, but it was somebody lost their mind and, either took a swing at the guy or pushed him out of the thing, but that's what they want you to do. But if we eliminate the ability to do that and disturb our employees,
So the signs you posted up there, they don't work.
until we do something,
Put a
until we
law to
adopt
it.
a policy.
Well, it's a sensitive area up there. You're dealing with a lot of paperwork and so on, a lot of private information.
That's another reason
Yeah,
is,
We have no real security, like the town has the bulletproof window glass separating the clerks from the people going in to pay their fines or going into court.
Mhm.
We don't have that.
well, as a public official or public, I've put myself out there. So, for you to record me is one thing, but to record the 3 other people that are standing in line trying to just pay their bills, a different thing altogether. And that's another reason, is to protect the people that visit our village hall.
Yeah, because he wasn't the only
It's like,
person.
yeah,
in
no,
here
it's
that
like,
day.
it's
It was-
one thing. I
it
mean,
was
I
quite
put myself
uncomfortable.
in the position where I know that this can happen, so. And I've been trained to deal with it, so.
Right. I don't know enough about the law. I know this is a tricky subject, just the social media in general, with people recording in public and then people not getting consent to record other people. I don't know how it works with the law. I feel like probably we need to look into that a little bit more, like ask
We have, and Matt Fuller's looked into it. Matt Fuller's been asking us to do this since I took office, actually. So he said he's written the laws. He actually works for Fort Edward. So he's written a law. He's like, I can craft a law in no time, or a policy for you, and you just have to adopt it. And we just haven't. I don't know why, until it kind of came back into the forefront of our mind when that guy came in a couple weeks ago, and Matt Fuller's been saying, pretty adamantly, you guys got to do this.
And it's not impeding
Mm-mm.
anyone's.
No, it's just determining that area is not.
Public
for
forum.
First Am-
They
it's
can
not a public
record
forum.
from the front page, the front steps, they can
Outside, yeah.
record in here.
Okay.
It's just the actual office
your
where we're
office is.
doing transactions for business.
Just
It's
designating that
This is
area.
not
as
a public forum.
But this gives you the leverage to call law
And you can
enforcement.
call law enforcement and have
Okay.
them remove, we still
Okay.
can't remove them ourselves.
Right,
If they
Much
become,
if you want to.
if they are impeding, like I said, other
Take 'em
people
out.
and.
yeah, so this just gives you the authority to have that person.
Obviously, you're
Remove.
gonna try to diffuse and help anybody that they can anyway, because a lot of times it's just somebody that doesn't have correct information.
Turns out
And that's what
he
that
did-
was. He didn't have correct information. He thought that it was private property and it was actually.
Yeah, the hydrangeas out there.
Hydrangeas, yeah, the village property, there. Well, we have to maintain it
So,
because
yes.
no one else is gonna do it for us. Okay, so we're cool on that. I can move on. Employee hire, Mike Sabo, was a seasonal returning water department. We had him last year. He's very knowledgeable. He has a pool company the rest of the year in the summer. He's very good. Was willing to carry the phone in evening hours. He lives close by. A couple of the guys, they are willing to carry the phone. They live farther away. And they're not as knowledgeable. They're newer guys. They're really good workers. They're just, Mike, we had promised him that he could come back this winter, and it's working out really well. Him being a
Part-time employee.
a part-time employee for, frees up. He's really, he's really good when we have the occasional water break. He's just got a well-rounded, experience. We wish he didn't have a pool company and he can work for us full-time.
He probably does too.
Yeah. And
Sometimes.
Andy Bazinet is, he came from, Tim's emailed us all the description. He came from Essity. They have their own wastewater. It's
Yeah.
pulp water,
That's
but
it.
it's not poopy water, but the guidelines and standards are the same. And he'll make a very good employee, so I would recommend that we take Keith and Tim's recommendations on these employee hires. So, but I will take a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I can second it.
Second by Trustee Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The ayes have it. Training, there's a different Andy Kellenbach. Is Tim's the scientist, right? Isn't he our scientist up there?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Basically.
He's catching up, to, Tim Junior.
Tim
As
Junior.
far as the type of. training
Assistant
he's-
operator, yeah.
And, there's more to do, obviously, but, Andy's really into this, he's doing great.
Yep.
And we want to see him, excel with the village. And I forget, I think he's been there 3, maybe 4 years.
I think he's about 3 or 4 years. He does all of our testing in the lab there.
Yes.
The dissolved oxygen and the solids and, he's very, very good. And if he goes through this training, he will be an assistant assistant plant operator. So
Yes.
for us to get 2 full-on operators, we're looking at the eve of having 3. 3 full operators.
Will Parallel the water department as well.
And that is, well, it's not too much. 4 nights for $280. Is it $280 a night or is it
No, it's all together.
altogether? It's not bad.
That's for the
Well,
hotel.
it's a school. You
That's
gotta
for the
figure it-
hotel, right?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
to do it. Then there's the tech.
It's in
The
more.
school's more than the hotel.
525 for the school, 25 for books.
Yeah, and then the other one is Brian
Transportation.
Hopkins, who we just hired full-time this year. He can go for his CDL and we will pay for it, and there's a stipulation that we put on that we've done in the past where if they get their CDL and then they leave us within a year, they have to pay us back for the training and.
Yeah, I saw that handwritten,
Yeah.
form produced
We've
there.
done that in the past with some other people and, it's just a way, because I'm sure we got burned and that's why we're doing it.
Yeah,
That
That's
way.
something I'd mentioned
Well,
years ago.
The fees for getting your CDL are, has been,
Expensive.
increased probably 60% in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's a big investment and we wanna, I would almost recommend 2-year, obligation, to be honest with the dollar amount that's associated.
Yeah.
That's my, you guys take it. from there.
You could break it up. If you leave after 1 year, you pay it all back. If you leave after 2 years, you
No,
Well,
I mean, if you.
pay half of
if
it
you-
back.
If you don't, yeah, if you don't stay for the 2 years, you're paying it all back.
yeah, well,
That's my,
okay, but as another alternative,
I think so.
if they stay for 1 year and 8 months,
Like a
they
reduced
don't pay
rate.
the whole thing back.
oh, like prorated?
Yeah, prorated, yeah.
Oh. Depends, I would hope that wouldn't have to be the case if they can, we're paying for them, we can stay at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Something,
don't know.
life
I'm
changes fast.
curious if that's legal. I know
Oh, yeah.
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 we've
Well, I
done
would
it
say-
in the past for a year. I don't know if we, we can tie it into 2 years or not. I'm not sure, but this has worked in the past. We would look into that. I mean, that's one of the questions we've been asked.
Because
Yeah.
the fees are.
They went up a lot more than the last time we even did this.
Yeah. Will you guys make that decision?
I mean, my job does things like this.
Yeah.
And I think there's like 5 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For different
For, like,
licenses,
nursing-
depending on the costs? Yeah.
Nursing school,
Yeah.
it might be 5, it's definitely not 1. It's
I
like
think Glens
2 or
Falls decided
something.
at one time. They'll
Yeah, it
train
probably
you,
depends on
but
the
you gotta
cost,
stay
The
with them.
dollar amount, yeah.
Mhm.
It's-
Yeah.
dollar amount.
Yeah, I'm sure
yeah.
that's the length of time is based on the dollar amount,
Yeah.
or at least directly proportional to it.
It was pretty close to this.
Yeah.
I think so. How
5
much they
years.
were gonna pay.
That's a-
And what's the per diem a day for the,
Surf them.
Yeah.
what are we paying per diem?
Yeah,
For what?
Uh,
A
that's
day for the $25 for textbooks
It's
per.
per
per-
hostage. The
If you
food,
eat
I don't know that
hostage.
there's necessarily,
He's not eating steak dinners.
limit.
Well, no, what,
No,
$50
no.
a day for meals?
Yeah, it's not, I don't think that we set a limit on it, but historically, but they know, there's not a lot of choices in Mooresville.
In Morrisville, yeah.
It's like, I saw last year, I think it was like $100 and some odd I had to pay back for the 4 days that
Yeah.
Tim was gone.
So has Brian been told about this 1 year thing or?
That I'm not sure. I think John Helms was,
Mhm.
kind of getting his feet wet with this stuff.
Yeah.
For project,
Cause I'm willing to change it to 2 years if the board wants to do that.
yeah.
I don't have a problem with
I'd
it.
have to check with John tomorrow and see, what they discussed and what stage they might be at.
Right, cause he might have already told him a year.
And he might have told them nothing, and then when he throws a year, he said, never mind. It's not-
Yeah, so
I get my license, then I'm going for someplace for 25.
yeah, so we can figure that out, talk to John tomorrow.
Gotta wanna hold up the approval though.
Yeah.
I would,
I would
hold- I
just
would
keep
say
the-
yes, as long as he's in agreement with
one.
Brian's agreement with the
With the
minimum terms of sticking around.
Alright, so I'll take a motion to approve both of those.
Make the motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it. With that.
Seconded. Right.
With the
Wordage.
stipulation.
Stipulation, trustee Joe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, local law fee schedule, public hearing, December 18th. The town has a fee schedule for theirs to supersede all other applications was done last year.
Mhm.
We would have to have all of our fees on one location, and it's not just like these applications that we just approved. There are other fees that we have for like road closures and different streets, parking lot. I mean,
Vendor permits,
Vendor
it
permits, we
goes, it's
should have-
everything that anybody pays us.
but I would like to list them all, at least get them into a list form on one sheet and have each of us take a look at them, maybe even an expanded description, because some of them might perceive to be dual use or something to that effect. So I would like to just have it all in one spot and then we all read through them. And in our workshop, make some suggestions as to, is $250 a day in the park enough for someone who wants to rent the park? That's not for-profit. Is that enough? I mean, it's costs have gone up. You had to your point,
Yeah.
when these were established, inflation wasn't at 9%.
I mean, I don't know if I think so we have the budget right here. My thing would be with the fee schedule, seeing how our costs have gone up. And kind of doing the fee based off of that, because that, like I just said, this is our way of revenue. It's pretty unique to the village, having a revenue stream like this, having the parking meters, the event spaces, it really does help significantly with our taxpayers. So-
Well, the parking meters are above and beyond our
Right.
biggest source of revenue.
Sure.
These park fees and vendor permits and business license permits are actually, the business licenses are actually probably second, not a close second at all either, but
They actually just recently went through all the permit licenses and all of that. And within this year.
yeah, we did it
and
last
with
year.
that, I think what we're trying to get done first, at least, is not necessarily to go and look at every fee.
Okay.
But to get it set up so that we can look at all the fees. Currently, it's set up so that anytime you look at a fee that's written into a law, you have to actually change that law.
Okay.
Which means a public hearing every single time to change something from $2 to $3.
Okay.
So we're trying to just get it set up so that at our annual or at our budget or whenever you guys determine you want to, we can change altogether one time a year
Mhm.
or just one fee. It's way easier to change on this than to change each and every law every time.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know that necessarily having to look at every fee right now is the priority. It's actually just setting this up so that we can create this law so that we can, in the future, adopt changes to the pricing.
When did you wanna look at the fees? Are we doing that more at budget time then, you think? Cause I know we had said some of the events that we approved, we said pending. if
Pending the
we
changes to
increase
our
the
fees,
fee.
yeah.
So how long are we putting that off for?
Oh, we're not putting it off. We're gonna try to do it in January.
Okay, so January, around budget time?
That was, yeah,
Okay.
that was that,
Yeah.
and, you know, we were talking about sitting down with Dan during that period of time. You know, it's unfortunate, for you, because you might not be available the first
I
couple
sh-
weeks of January. We'll see how it goes.
I should be
We'll
available.
be here the day after.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
Well, I mean, yeah, I can, if you can do anything on Zoom, so,
You can,
Right?
and this is
so.
Live from Glens Falls, Snuggery.
Saratoga.
Saratoga?
I work for Saratoga Hospital, that's how we gotta say it, but. Yeah,
But yeah, we're gonna work on, this enlist form. Probably have it to you by first or second week of January. Something, you know, similar to this. Might not be one sheet, might be two sheets, because we have a lot more fees than they do, because they don't have any parks that they rent out, or street closures that they do,
So
but
do you wanna hold off and put the public hearing to not the December meeting, but the January?
I think
meeting?
it would be wise, because by
Okay.
the time we get it, and then,
Yep,
so that's going to January.
yeah, I think it should.
January 22nd.
It would be the
Mhm.
That's what it
22nd,
says.
yeah. Yes, because we have to move.
that's another.
That's the last thing on the agenda, but,
Yeah.
okay, so that's good. Water changes and transfers and audits. I will take both of them. Not much going on there. But, so I'll take an approval on those two.
And your transfers and audits, just, is in the actual paper copy that you have.
Make a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second,
Oh, I thought you said, wait 1 second.
I'm mumbling, sorry.
No,
Second it.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Financial statement approval, I just want you guys to sign this. You don't have to understand it yet. I would suggest that you go in for your, balance sheets, expense control report and revenue control reports. Carve out some time with Danae. If she can answer any questions you might have. It's not the easiest thing to look at, but it's not terrible, and if you hold it alongside of your budget in the black budget book that you all got,
Right,
there, it'll show you where we are this, in this budget of month, and this is where we're at, if there's anything, and shouldn't be anything, and there is some in parentheses.
Yeah, basically, again, a lot of things that are coming up are because we now have the auditors and they're making suggestions and they just want to make sure, they asked, do your trustees get a financial report from you? And we're like, well, if they ask for it, we'll give them one. So we're this way, we're gonna, from now on, just like we do the water changes and the transfers and audits, we're gonna present you with this so you can look at it. And if you have questions.
Every month?
Every month, you're gonna get one of
I
those
mean,
reports. I'm
I'm
not
gonna work on
gonna,
a way to get it to you electronically, so you don't have to print
I
and kill
love
a tree.
this every month.
I know you.
Thank
would.
It will, it
Yeah.
I know you would.
Thank
it will.
Could make
and
it two-sided.
We could do two-sided.
We
page
can,
printing.
we can.
That would cut it in half.
Right, generally speaking, I scan most of the board documents.
Yeah.
But because of the length of it and all of that, I was just like, we already had this much.
Yeah.
And that was kind of given last minute too, so. I can leave it to you guys if you want it scanned. Obviously, anything that you scan goes in the board document becomes public foilable.
Not that
My
that's not
personal-
already
It's,
foilable.
it is, but if you put it out there for the people to look at every month, they're gonna start to expect it and you're gonna get a lot more requests for them.
Mhm.
Is what's gonna happen.
You scan it to us.
Yeah, if we scan the board documents, anything that I scan to you guys in our board documents is foilable.
What about if I keep it on my iPad? Is my iPad not foilable? I don't know.
If it has anything that you have that
Traced
has to
from the
do with the
office,
village
too.
is foilable. That's why we tell you not to use your personal phones.
I only have two phones, so,
Right.
um,
And that's the same thing though
With
towards
technology
anything,
texting, and
anything
we break
that-
this rule all
any
the time.
emails or all
okay. Well, no,
that.
I understand that. I'm
So-
just
so
trying
basically-
to learn the rule here.
Well, because don't we have to
Oh, I'm
save
just
everything that's
guilty.
emailed to us?
Believe me, and I
anyway?
know it, and I'm still wrong.
Isn't
What's that?
that,
So
that,
easy.
emailing anyway is all, has to
Mhm,
be, you
everything.
have to keep up to 7 years, because it can be
Everything.
foiled.
We don't get rid of
That's-
anything.
We had to do it
Yeah.
when Doug, we had to go back and pull up
It was 7
anything,
years, yeah.
anything that we had, you can't delete them.
Well, we may end up, and just
Do
for
it
your information, as
The
far
email.
as what we're looking
Anything
at with
that's
our,
handed through,
our,
passed through us,
new technology implementation of the phone system.
conversation about the village.
We may end up with better email addresses.
So,
Instead
Yeah,
of
they're not-
village of Lake George.us is a lot.
Oh,
They
Yeah,
don't-
about-
Yeah.
that, our email system is very cumbersome.
It
and
is
it's-
terrible, and there's so many ways to make it better. I met with a couple of people. I have to get a third quote in order to do it, and our phone system they don't even need wires anymore. It can be completely wireless throughout the whole building, like that phone there. It has a screen, it has caller ID, it's amazing. We don't even have caller ID is what I'm getting at.
You don't have, I mean,
we have a pot.
we don't have
We have a
rotary
rotary phone.
phones.
We have
we have
pot
road-
sign
one
that
long
do not
extension
accept
on
those
it.
information- that
Remember that one in the kitchen? You could go like 15 feet? Just to the microwave?
Into the bathroom and close the door.
So basically what we're looking for on 14 is just acknowledgement that you received it in like a resolution saying, yep, I received it.
That's what that paper, no. Okay, you're right.
Just
That,
gonna
we're
sign it.
just gonna do like a resolution saying, it was received by each member, assuming that each member's here. And that's it.
And you want us to sign?
Well, it's not that you're gonna have to sign anything. We just wanna do a resolution saying
Okay.
that everybody received it.
Okay.
Everybody, you are hereby acknowledging receipt of
Okay,
the monthly financial statement for approval.
got it.
Okay, so that said, we have to set dates every year. We have to move January and February's from the second Monday of the month to the third Monday of the month.
Over the third Monday now. You from the third to the second.
It's the third to the second. No, that's
Says
actually,
January's 22nd, which is
Yeah.
the fourth,
that's the
fourth
So
Monday.
our third Monday, we have to move to the fourth Monday. So we're moving to the fourth Monday in January.
Yeah, if we do it
February,
the first month, it's too close, and then nobody gets paid.
oh, okay, that's why.
That's
It's
why.
also
We wait.
Martin Luther King Day, that's why we're moving.
Yeah, well, yeah, we have to move it
Um,
because that we're not here on that Monday.
Yeah,
But if we go to the eighth, it takes too long for everybody to get paid in February. So by all of the signatures that you're doing in that green book over there, is what allows people to get paid. So the 22nd of January rather than the 15th to avoid Martin Luther King Day, and then the 12th of February rather than the 19th to avoid President's Day. And I know we gotta move the April one, but we'll move that when we get closer to April because Easter Monday is our normal, the third Monday of the month is our normal. Oh, no, our annual meeting, I'm sorry, not our normal monthly meeting. Our annual meeting is the Easter Monday. So we're gonna do it prior. But that's just a heads up.
Nobody off Easter Monday.
We'll be gone, yeah.
Oh,
We
Not
are-
me, I won't
East-
be.
Easter, they moved Easter to a Monday now? I thought
We
it was
don't have any
Sunday.
elections
No.
this year, so it really doesn't make a difference as far as anybody having to be sworn in on a specific date. Or, next year, obviously, we have to take that into consideration because
Yeah.
we do have to have it done within a certain amount of time.
But so I don't think we need to, we don't need a resolution for this. We've never taken one in the past.
No, that's just to
No,
let
it's
you
just a
know.
note. so- change
But
it.
I would like you guys to just acknowledge I or whatever
yeah.
for the financial statement, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Jose,
That's an eye also.
An eye for an eye,
You know.
tooth for a tooth.
All right, I'm all talked out. Does anybody have anything else? I'll go through individually. Keith, do you have anything? Okay. John Root,
I will be in to see Danae on this, just because I'd like to know what that's gonna, and when is the last day for pickup, or is it
17.
the last day for yard waste?
Pardon me, yard waste?
Yeah. 17th.
Already passed that.
All right, they're still
Say it's
picking up.
20.
Well,
Flies.
They're still
Yeah.
picking up.
yeah, they're still,
Yeah.
well, we
well,
still
there's
pick it
still,
up.
these are still falling.
Because some
just
of
in our
the,
cart right here.
some of the trees, I saw one up on Cooper, it's full of leaves
Yeah,
still,
I know.
over by Jeff Armett's house.
Yeah, right.
Every leaf is still on that tree.
Yeah.
Joe, you got anything?
Nope, just an apology to Keith and the crew for getting leaves out there past 17th, that's all.
Yeah, and in the dark, you're doing it last night, he's out there in the dark.
I've seen him out there in the dark, yeah,
Alice?
I have nothing, thank you.
He's ninja out there.
Jose?
Continue on to get it out of the way for the winter.
I like the snowflakes and lights going up around town. Big fan.
Yeah, we got a lot
Beach
more.
Club looks great, by the way. Yeah.
Did you see the display at the,
Yeah.
both the corner and spreading down off into the front of Blaze Park and
Yeah.
down beachfront? Those are water bottles. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're cut water bottles. They put the thing on and they cut them and fold them back, paint them, and they're like flowers.
Right in
It's
front of the Vintners.
Very, very.
It's in
ingenious.
Shepherd Park too, isn't it?
Shepherd Park as well, yeah.
That's often.
So Judy's like, I can't say enough about, Judy is an artist.
It's better every year.
Yeah.
You ready to go?
With that, we'll take a motion to
Don't forget-
adjourn.
Don't forget,
Bye.
don't forget Light of the Village.
Okay, who said
Yeah.
motion to adjourn?
I said I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So ordered.
John got it.
So long.
Don't forget,
6:50.
yeah, don't forget Light Up the Village.
Don't forget, yes,
Don't forget.
come one, come all. Watch me try to get through that without
It's
embarrassing
the day
myself too much.
after,
Saturday, it's just Saturday.